Greetings, what's up, boys? Motherfucker, yo. Bing wrong. Yo, who keeps deleting RB's messages, man? Stop that out. What the fuck? I don't even got mods. What's going on? Late. It is 3:30 on my computer clock. I can't be late. Oh, you're Mankey? Okay, I never even knew that. You've been around for a hot minute then. Return of the King, that's right. It's been quite some time. I think it's been like, well over a month, I think. See, Julius got my back. 3:30. What's up, Abdel? Random account. What's up, Abyssal? Leviathan. Okay, okay. Z Killer. Shit. Oh, fuck. Z Killer's here. Can't wait for next week's classic. Listen, part three is looking to be pretty good so far. I have to make some changes before it's completely final, but it's a product that I'm mostly happy with as of right now. What's up, Billy Bob? Likewise, Astoria. That's a sick name. My bro said he seen you hooping with Draco one day. Yeah. Oh, so this is so you guys finally. Yeah. I mean, me and Draco haven't been hooping for a hot minute. But yeah, they probably have. It's funny because all the guys there at the place that we went to, they all like knew Braga. They're Braga fans. How long is part three approximately? It's gonna be a little less than 4 hours. So it'll be like 3 hours, 55, 56 minutes as of right now. How's life been treating you lately? Life's been good, man. Like Future said, life's been good. I have no complaints right now. I almost got cucked at work last night, but I didn't get cucked, so everything ended up being pretty good. Dritz, why do you have a good thumbnail for part one, but a low effort one for part two? Do you not want views on the video? Yeah. Did you think it was low effort? Yo, shout out my boy Christian Torlado, my artist for my thumbnails, man. I'm sure he would love to hear that. Don't worry, part three is gonna have a fire thumbnail. Fire. Do I still read One Piece? I have not been prioritizing reading One Piece. Eric, since I started working on part three, I kind of have stopped caring about like keeping up. I read half of the recent chapter that came out, and then I skipped the rest of it. I'll read it all later when I go through Wano. But for the past, I would say 4 chapters, I've been paying loose attention through spoilers, and the Torlados talking to me about stuff. But I have not been particularly caring at all to keep up. Yeah, me and Draco need to get hanging out together again. We're kind of frauds. Draco's a way bigger fraud than I am, though, I have to say, and I pride myself on being a fraud. Many people like part two way more than part one because he was less critical of Dressrosa. LMAO, they're not ready for the upcoming whole cake slander. Well, the thing is, I did preface part two by saying this is the most positive I'm going to be in any of the videos. So, it's only downhill from there in terms of overall negativity in the takes. What's up, Adam? Oh, Heavenly called me daddy. Let's go. What's up, Ferrari? Woke up in a new Ferrari. Just how do you feel about Midhawk? I'll go over the recent affairs of the. I actually had like a 2 hour conversation last night in Discord about it, so it's all fresh in my mind. I feel they're always trying to get me to stay late at Walmart. Well, this was kind of more of like a different situation. So I haven't really talked about this, but so I recently because I've been I got like a bump in pay recently. So I had since I make more money now, I can afford to take care of my mom. So I had my mom move in with me so I can take care of her. But she's like a sickly woman, so I have to be kind of careful about mainly COVID. But one of the guys that came into work last night might have had COVID. But he came in anyway because he's kind of like he doesn't really buy into medical science, so he didn't want to get COVID tested. So he had to get COVID tested at work and stuff like that. And he came back negative, but if he had been positive, I would have had to have rented a hotel for 2 weeks so I don't come home and potentially give my mom COVID. So I was almost gonna mold, but it ended up being okay. I can't actually read the chapters anymore. I just read the spoilers and skim. Uh, I made a tweet about this not too long ago, but I've kind of been going under the motto of I'll check out the spoilers, and if I see anything that interests me, then I'll check it out. But until then, I'm kind of just a hands-off approach until I basically finish part four. What's up, Uchiha? In your opinion, who do you think is closer to Guts, Puck or Shurka? I think people forget that Puck was there for Guts when he was at his worst mentally. Can't blame them for what happened with Puck. Who is close? Indefinitely Shurka in my mind. Because Guts says, I mean, Puck's not a character anymore, so. Who had the greater potential? Puck. I think Puck, well, at least for a period of time, Shurka kind of replaced Puck in many ways. And Shurka's the GOAT. But Puck being bad is always going to be a major criticism of Berserk. Dritz, the worst gen forms love me. Oh, is that a fact? That for any media loves me. This surely this is the dark timeline. Did Zoro visit Ryuma's grave? I genuinely can't remember. On screen, no, he never did. Will Oda remember and then maybe make it on screen? Probably. Will it matter? No. Will Ryuma matter? Probably not. Maybe in the maybe in a random flashback in the future, but his time has kind of passed. He's like many other things when it comes to One Piece, where the moment that Oda had to actually make him memorable, it's kind of gone already. Like, because Wano's over, and that was the only time anything of Ryuma would be actually be impactful in the story. Everything else here on forward is just kind of lore. What are my top three favorite One Piece jokes? Top three is probably going to be crew impersonations of each other. Um, the booger scene in Baratier. Um, Third one I have to think of. Wait, Drake's Puck is like Chopper then? Yes, he is. I've made this comparison before. Actually, in my original like rant on chapters like 956 or 957, I talked about how Puck and Chopper were similar to each other, which is why I was angry that Chopper got fucking assassinated. Uh, Not a good thing when that shit happens to your characters. I'm actually when used properly, I'm a fan of mascot characters, like pet characters. I like them quite a bit. In most stories, I ended up being a fan of them. So, we got Kaladin and Syl from the Storyline Archive, Guinevere and Dritz from the Dritz series. Puck, Guts, Appa, the goat. Wait, how can you say that you are burnt out on Wano, but then check out the spoilers? Isn't that wanting to know the info sooner? I know it takes a minute, but like still, is that towards me, Twitch boy? I can't tell if you're having a conversation with someone right now. Sup, Dritz. Also, people think Green Bull's character changed after Reverie. What are your thoughts? Hmm. Well, this is always going to be chalked up as a conspiracy, but it's kind of hard to say because Green Bull's design changed. As per what Oda's been doing so far in the post time skip with these silhouettes, he's been intentionally changing the design from what he originally has it. He did it with Morley, he did it with Odin, he's done it with Green Bull. So, did the character change? I would say to some degree because here's the thing. Whenever we first met Green Bull at the Reverie, he started talking about maybe he'd eat if like a hot babe gave him food, right? And then he said, "I haven't eaten in 3 years." So, but we got the eating reference here in Wano, but no lecherous or anything, which was like another implication of his character. Outside of that, it's kind of hard to make a case that he changed. So, maybe not. Do I think Guts will go on a solo journey mirroring Skull Knight soon? I hope not. I hope not. Maybe the pirate folk Reddit love you. I'm actually pretty sure pirate folk hates me. I think pirate folk loves Morge, and they hate me. Driss, do you still think Wano is the worst arc overall? Yes. It's an arc that I'll preface this. It is not the arc I get the most angry at. I get more angry at Whole Cake Island. But what arc is worse? I think Wano indefinitely is the worst arc. How did the meeting up with the boys go? And did you get to body Brago and the guys in basketball and Smash? The meetup was lit, guys. Like it was an amazing time. That week went by really, really fast. Did I get the Brago or the guys in basketball or Smash? We didn't. Well, I didn't play a whole lot of Smash, and neither did Braga. Played a little bit of Smash, but we were supposed to have like a competitive Smash tourney. Morge was actually going to fund a prize pool of $50 to whoever won the tournament, but everyone ended up going to parties, and the group kind of split off, so that never happened. As far as basketball goes, I was Draymond Green. Oh shit, is Sen Ito and Glam Ring Man? Oh fuck. Dris, do you think Oda is dehyping the Gorosei on purpose in order to hype up Emu Rocks into the true EOS villains? Well, I don't know if that's his reasoning for it. Is Oda dehyping the Gorosei? Well, absolutely, 100%. I think that's undeniable. Is he doing it for a purpose? Now that is the real question. Does Oda think he's hype? Does Oda, the author, believe that he's de-hyping the Gorosei, or does he think this is actually something that makes sense? It's like, oh well, you can empathize. Oh well, there's nothing they can do. It's kind of hard with Oda because Oda's One Piece with its current place. You can't really apply normal logic to it. Remember that conversation we had like several months ago about whether or not Oda was intentionally trying to make Kid dog shit, and that was the entire point of his characters, that Kid is dog shit? Because we didn't know, because Kid was so bad. Yeah, I don't know, dude. Like, how do we read Oda at this point? Unless it's like really, really obvious. Like, it's not so obvious what Oda's intent is when things go horribly, horribly wrong with characters. Am I gonna wait until Wano is officially over before releasing Part 4? I mean, if I had Part 4 anywhere close to being done, then yes. But I don't. And it's gonna take me a long time to finish Part 4. Because that's like 150 plus chapters of work, guys. That is like, oh, that is such a behemoth to tackle. By the time that I naturally get done with it, Wano should be over if it lasts 3 or 4 more chapters. Oh, Almighty Fish Mix. Yo, sorry you got destroyed on Twitter, but you were kind of wilding with your tweets, so maybe... Have you learned anything, Fish? Hey, what's up, Wing? Dritz, do you think the way Kaido went out was the most underwhelming defeat for a main arc villain in One Piece, or no? A main arc villain. Well, with it's like in a vacuum. If you don't apply any context, no. I think there are, like, if you look at the earlier, like Don Krieg, you know, Don Krieg didn't go out in a spectacular fashion. He was fine, but it wasn't like it was super memorable or anything. I bet half people probably couldn't even remember how Don Krieg went out. Yeah, thanks for dropping by, Sen. I appreciate it. But I mean, it's undeniable. I feel like most people kind of feel the same way, even like defenders, because they kind of acknowledge this is that, you know, the way that Kaido went out was very lackluster, and there's a lot of things that go into that, which I think people haven't been able to properly point out like what the correct reasons are. I think they just kind of attach themselves to one reason and don't look at the whole picture. I miss you being in group discussions with the boys, but I understand why you don't go to them much anymore. Oh yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of like it making sense, you know. I sort of do these streams to kind of like keep track with you guys. I mean, I used to do the discussion streams back whenever we used to actually cover One Piece, but this is kind of like a more casual approach. I mean, I'll bring them in like every once in a long while, but it's not discussion in the same way that it was discussion in the past, you know. But I probably should bring them in more. Whole cake broke Braga, Dritz, and Dustin. Yeah, it did. It did. Hey, Mr. S says, "Hey, Dritz, what's up, man? I know it's really late, but if you're still looking for music for your Downfall series, would you consider the Eterna Forest theme from Pokemon? A Pokemon? All right, I'm going to put this in the notepad so I can look it up later. If it ends up being fire, I may put it into the video. Dritz, when Greenbow was talking about getting someone's approval, I thought he was talking about Emu because the chat bubble changes mid-sentences and he also had to ignore Sakazuki's orders before. Nah, I'm not going to go... Well, I'd probably have to go look into context more because like I can't. Like I said, I've been paying loose attention for the past several weeks, so I can't tell you the exact circumstances of how everything went down. So I'm not going to say that doesn't make any sense. Like my mind right away goes to the talks of pro prejudice, and I'm going to be honest. I don't think that is something that I would ever hear a Kainu say. Is just like pro prejudice, like out front like that. So I can kind of see where the idea comes from. How horrible do you think the sudden carrot stuff was last chapter? Listen, carrot was asked before last chapter, but this chapter just took a whole dump on carrot. Like carrot is so bad. It's actually kind of funny because like I see people now feeling bad for carrot when carrot's been getting hoed for like the entire arc. Fish, please. Dritz, is Morge going to make a special guest appearance on the Wanda video? He said he was looking forward to your video on it. Um, here's maybe, like someone suggested this in my Discord that I try to get Morge in on the Part 4 video. I'll think about it now that it's been brought to my attention. I just need to kind of work out like how, right? Because Morge can't be in the whole video. Nor like, because I kind of want it to be my video. But if there was going to be like a specific section I bring in Morge as a guest spot to, I'd have to figure out what that section is and how I would utilize Morge, like, and what he would want to do that I would let him do over me doing it. So it's kind of like a weird. It'd be like I'll have to figure it out, and I won't be able to figure that out until I kind of piece together what the outline of the script for Wano is going to be. Dritz, can you please explain to me how did Kid get Big Mom's poneglyph? Was it stated in Honkagon that the only supernova to get past Snacks was a Rouge? Well, if you remember in part 2 in Udon, there was a bunch of fake news around Kid about him losing in Hulkik Island, but that was apparently not true. That was once again the Big Mom pirates lying. Kid said that he went there and got one he needed and pieced out. Apparently that was the road poneglyph. Now, how did he get that? Apparently it was through a commander. Some commander. I don't know how the circumstances went down. I literally don't know it. It's kind of implied that whatever the fuck happened is that someone willingly gave them the poneglyph. Because I find it hard to believe that they made it all the way into the castle, got a rubbing of the poneglyph, and then got out of the castle all the way to freedom. So, this might be another example of Big Mom's crew being completely incompetent for the sake of other characters because they're afraid of Big Mom. What am I reading now? Well, unfortunately, I'm reading One Punch Man. And I say unfortunately because oh god, the ending of this arc has just been an absolute train wreck. It's, it feels like I'm cursed to some degree because I caught up to One Punch Man because I'd given it like a multiple year break. And then I reread the entirety of like Murata's version. And I caught up like a few months ago, and I was actually really excited because I liked where the story was. And then from the point in time that I caught up, outside of the centipede bullshit, which was ass, the story has just seemingly gone downhill for the arc. And now the arc's like, so I don't know if is it my fault? Did I do this? Should I have? This reminds me when I was a kid and I refused to watch the Cavs finals because every time I had watched the Cavs finals, or I watched the Cavs in the playoffs, they would always lose. So I convinced myself out of superstition that if I just didn't watch, then LeBron would win a ring. This is what it feels like. JK Network says, Dritz, the whole cake discussions back then got heated and toxic, but they were the most fun discussions I've seen from a One Piece stream. Listen, those were prime toxicity days. There's never going to be streams like that again. Is there never? Yeah. I think with the way that the community has developed since Whole Cake Island, you are never ever going to get streams as toxic as they were back then. Which is kind of a shame because they were fun. Even though like I was fucking molding or like the arguments with Ty would like go on and everyone would just get frustrated. Those are like the glory days. And you're never going to get anything like it again because the community is not the same as it was back then. Oh man. For people who have been around since then, are those cherished memories for you guys? Those streams? Do I think Caribou was talking about Teach when he says someone? So we've all thought for the longest point in time that this was going to be Blackbeard because Blackbeard, you know, this kind of like an obvious character. Now, the simplest answer is usually the correct one. Oda likes to do this stuff that usually doesn't work, where, like, Stebo made a tweet about this yesterday about how he's tired of, in anime and stuff, where people intentionally, like the author intentionally has the character not be logical to themselves for the sake of the audience. So, like, they'll refer to people as that person in their mind. And I saw the panel where Caribou is referring to a certain someone in his mind, in his own mind, instead of saying the person's name. I'm like, yeah, you know, if it's just Blackbeard, then you're not being slick. You're not being slick. I think it's Blackbeard, but there's an off chance that it might not be, and who knows, maybe it's justified. Dritz, Morch talked to you about that video we talked about in Dallas at all? No, he did not. No, he did not. Unless I'm misremembering. Morch got his own video coming that you should both feature in each. I think Morch has 2 videos coming. It would be funny to see, though, like, if Morge brought me into a live stream, how his audience would react to me. You know, back in the old days, whenever Morge was still a man full with hopes and dreams, and he wasn't Morgan. I remember, like, I went on, back when this was a thing, what was it? The Wana Report, and I basically couldn't come back in there because I was, like, you know, I was shitting on it. Even though I was, like, holding myself back. But now that the One Report's not a thing, maybe Morge can bring me in once. Try Sakamoto Days, that's top tier. I have heard that it's solid. Dizzy, I'm not gonna lie. It's not gonna happen, man. I think that's, dude. They're joining, maybe even both, but I don't. I think it's just gonna be another Odin dick sucking. If it's not, then if Yamato somehow, by some magical means, doesn't join the crew, that might be the happiest I've been since a transition chapter, a Reverie chapter. Did I see the interview? Yes, I did. And as a matter of fact, the interview was so recent that while I was editing the video in the script for Whole Cake, I went and added a couple sections that made use of those interviews. So, thank you, Oda. I'm guessing you didn't like the God and time travel shenanigans? Not at all. There's several reasons. Like, dude, Murata keeps fumbling. Oh, fuck. The Genos drama went nowhere. Garo kind of in the mud. Saitama's in the mud. I didn't like it. I thought it was kind of ass. $10 from Tap Tap Nomi. So now that Wano is wrapping up, do you think that the story could go on a rise or continue to be a shell of its former self? I'll default to what I usually say when it comes to this, Nomi, which is it possible that One Piece gets better? Yes. Do I believe that One Piece is going to get better? No. Because I've been given no reason to believe that One Piece will get better. Because Oda has not yet written a full great arc. So, in the final saga, where things are going to be more complicated than they've probably ever been in the story, and the Strats are probably going to be less involved than they've ever been, and this is the point in time where their dreams should probably come true, I might have reason to be skeptical. But will the average fan absolutely lose their mind because of just, generic hype? Absolutely. You better believe it. We'll see. We'll see. Jason, did you know that Morge ruined a generation of One Piece fans? To give Morge credit, he kind of did. All right, best of both worlds. You need to check yourself for that question. That's ridiculous. I'm not even going to read that question out. Dream, he's in the script, man. Don't worry though. It's not as bad as you think it's gonna be. Let me see. I'm trying to catch up the comments, guys. So give me a second. Is Green Bull the worst admiral character-wise? He's like the meme about admirals being government dogs personified. I think Jake had a very on-point tweet where he said that Green Bull is the big mom of the admirals. I remember Morch hop on your weekly streams during the Odin flashback. That was so fun. Yeah, yeah. Hey, listen. I'm a washed up old has been right now, like what Mihawk said Shanks was, but I'm actually a has been. But back in those days, I actually had a decent stream. All right, those discussion streams they got some numbers. Not too bad for the most negative person in the entire community at that point in time. Let me see. I think about half of Morge's fan base would be outraged by your presence. The other half would be chill. I think it's I don't know. It'll depend because half of the time, as I've noticed, it's kind of more like my reputation precedes me, more so than what I actually say. Because and which is it makes sense. Half the time, I feel like I don't even really say anything that's crazy. If anything, like I am so reserved in what I would normally say that it's kind of like I'm trying to be overly nice about what I say so that it doesn't come off as insulting for the chat. But everyone knows what I'm about, so it's just like, it doesn't really matter. Dritz, what's the first manga you're going to read once you're finished with the Wano video? Well, the first one, I'm going to do a reread for the upcoming video after the Wano video, which is like an analysis video. I'm going to reread Monster so I can do the Monster video. And then the first new manga I'll read is probably Vagabond. Have I seen the new Chainsaw Man trailer? I actually just saw it on the timeline not too long ago. I mean, it looked fine. I mean, I don't really have a whole lot to say about it. I mean, it's a pretty, short trailer as far as someone has no context on the series because I've never seen it. So any hints that might have been there are kind of on deaf ears as far as I'm concerned for me because I don't know anything. But it looks fine. The CG wasn't too bad. I've watched way worse CG. I've seen Ray Zero. Ray Zero's CG was awful. Dritsy's already made up her mind to stay in Wano. Check the last page again, specific wording. All right, so I did not like fully read the chapter, but let me go back. Let me go back to the last page, Dizzy. Hmm. I mean, I can kind of see where you're coming from, Dizzy, but I don't know. Does it make sense? I can see what you're saying. I can kind of see what you're saying. We'll see. We'll see. Driz, do you think there's a chance that Togashi will finish Hunter x Hunter now? Nope. Nope. I mean, he made a compromise. Like I said, he needed to make a compromise in order to finish his story, but I think we're still a long way away from me being able to confidently say, yes, Hunter x Hunter will finish. Just, do you prefer the original conclusion to the Garo fight? So, granted, I haven't read the Garo fight in 6 years, but in my mind, yes. Dritz, what is your opinion on the defense for One Punch Man being that since it's a gag manga, you can't take it seriously because they say that, but the manga wants you to take it seriously at times. That's what we call copium. That's like running away from criticism and using anything to shield yourself away from what is fair and just critique of the story. The redraws don't happen for no reason. Like the redraw that heavily affected like the fight, that happened for a reason because they probably saw that people weren't fucking with it and they changed that shit. But no, you can criticize One Punch Man. Gag manga isn't a defense whenever the story starts to teeter and then go downhill and you aren't supposed to feel a certain way about something. Right? It doesn't really matter. Dritz, it's correct to assume Cone, one Cone, One Piece Part 2 has complete disappointment for you? I'm not sure what this means. You mean my own video? Is that what you're saying? What, you talking about the time skip? Yes, I will be uploading this, Billy Bob. What do you mean by endgame fight, Abyssal? Because I agree with you in the sense that, well, I never thought that Mihawk was going to be the last fight of the story for Zoro. I never believed that. So, yeah, he's not like endgame in terms of the final fight for Zoro. Dritz, how do you feel about Killua's character during Chimera Ant and overall opinions on Alaka? So let's do Chimera Ant. It's alright. So I've said this before, and I'll say it again. It's like I don't dislike Killua in that arc, in Chimerian arc, but um, the thing that everyone praises Chimerian arc for during that portion, which is like the Gon and Killua conflict, didn't particularly catch my eye. I wasn't really caring about the Gon stuff. The Gon, Gon. Like I said, I'm not a fan of Gon's character, so the drama there between him and Kite and how it affected Killua wasn't completely something that I cared about. And Killua is one of my favorite characters, so that should be saying something. But it was, it was fine. I liked it, I guess. Alaka, Alaka, I'm very split on because Alaka, the character, her and Killua, goated. I will cry every time I watch the ending scene between them. Killua, the plot device, awful for the story. So I'm actually quite mixed when it comes to Alaka, because that is probably the worst answer that Togashi could have come up with in terms of how do we get going back to normal. It is inconceivably bad, and he should be ashamed of himself for ever writing that into the story in the way that he did. Just did you see the Mihawk scar on his neck? So I saw someone say that it was a scar, but Christian Terlato assured me that it was not a scar and it was in fact just how Oda draws collarbones. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I've never paid attention to how Oda draws collarbones, so I wasn't able to debunk him on the spot whether or not that's how Oda draws collarbones. He said that people brought up evidence that's how he does it, but I just took his words at face value. I'm going to assume and pray, for the love of God, for the love of everything. Please do not let that be a scar. Why do all of the One Piece YouTubers show the Netflix adaptation? Well, see, if you look next to whatever like the show is, what's the show for Netflix called? One Piece? Oh, interesting. I wonder why they show it. Let me see. Just what do you think the next arc after Wano will be? I think we'll have a transition arc where we kind of like it's not even gonna be an arc. It's like a transition island. We're gonna have like a little island that we go to, and then we're gonna actually find out where we really go to. So this will be the point in time that we find out if we actually have to go to Elbaf. I'm going to expect Elbaf as like the next real arc, but I mean, Alaka is supposed to be a calamity from the New World. The New World kind of has to be OP. My issue with Alaka isn't the fact that she's OP. It's the fact that the convenient answer to Gon's imminent doom happened to be, oh shit, I have a family member who just happens to have the ability to heal, to do anything. Oh, this is so easy. No journey, no arc or nothing. Oh fuck, there it is. I'll just yoink. There it is. Let's go heal the guy who just got fucked. Very, very convenient and very unfulfilling as a plot device. Alaka the character, go. Alaka the plot device, ass. Dritz, can you please do more streams like this? It's always good to hear your thoughts. Thanks regardless. Hmm. I Hey, listen. The only reason I didn't do a stream is because I was prioritizing. I would have streamed earlier than this, but the only reason I didn't is because I was prioritizing making the video. Like literally, I've had free time all of this week, and I had no idea what to do with it because for the past like since I finished part two, I have been like nonstop working on part three. So, oh, one second, my mom came in. All right, I'm back. Oh, 9 quid from Mr. S. Dritz, I found it annoying that the Master World Builder had Kaido's crew in the series for no reason other than to be smacked by the Alliance. Do you think the rest of the foes will get the same treatment? Yes. Bro, these crews don't matter, man. I'm sorry. Like King has like this little things, bits and pieces here. It's not like they're there for literally no reason, but they're just not good characters. Like the main issue isn't like the lore. It's the characters. The characters are ass. Guys, do you know how far Yonko Commander stock has gone since Whole Cake Island? The community has done such a reverse on like what they perceive Yonko Commanders to be. Like they're important, they matter. And it's like, oh yeah, but like all of them are ass. Like it's oh Yamero, Yamero. Dritz, by not endgame, I mean Mihawk might literally be Zoro's next fight. That Yonka level vid may not age well. Listen, I was talking about this last night with Glam, and I was memeing about it with Eric. It's only a matter of time before all of my worst fears get confirmed. We'll get it won't be stated outright, but we'll get confirmation that Akainu never beat Aokiji in a fair fight. There is everything will be fake. Oda will add some type of fake depth to shit to make it seem more complex because nothing in the story can be real. No hype will ever matter, truly. Akainu will never have beaten Aokiji, which will throw his entire status as a fleet admiral into the dumpster. Garp's already on fraud watch, but it will be revealed more that Garp really did nothing for his title. He only got it because he took all the credit for what Roger did. He barely helped out in the fight against Rox because Rox was Roger's rival and not Garp's. Kaido's a fraud. Big Mom's a fraud. Kaido never beat a single strong person in a 1v1. In fact, he lost. Big Mom hasn't done shit. She sucks. Shanks, to be determined. Shanks might be the only non-fraud in the entire verse because Oda has a boner for Shanks. Mihawk will have not become the world's strongest swordsman through hard work and having earned it. He will have been considered the world's strongest swordsman because Shanks lost his arm, and that's it. It will be heavily implied that he never beat anyone and that his lore is all meaningless. It's just a matter of time, folks. Dragon's gonna suck. Dragon's already in the dumpster. And it's all going to be there to create more storylines. Oh, what's up, Matt? Dritz, maybe it's too early to ask since this is we're only to have 2 parts so far, but when you first started working on the One Piece series, which plot points or parts of the story were you most excited to cover? Well, I was most excited to cover general speaking things, like, kind of like once I stopped talking about story shit in part one, which I shouldn't have even talked about. When I started talking about the Straw Hat's dreams and Oda as a writer, stuff like that, that's something I wanted to talk about quite a lot. And then from there, there's like individual things, like in each arc, there's stuff I want to talk about to point out that people might have not thought of, which, what makes villains good, stuff like that. Zoro, Nami, and Punk Hazard. And obviously, this next video coming up is going to be a big one because Whole Cake Island started it all. If anyone has been around enough, been around long enough, excuse me, they know that this entire Downfall series started off with just me wanting to make a Whole Cake Island critique video, but I changed it to be the entire story once enough stuff happened in Wano. So Whole Cake Island is kind of like the child of all of this. So the entire Whole Cake Island I'm excited for. Just speaking of Yonko Cruz, I forget, why do we even care about Blackbeard's crew again? Besides Teach himself, these guys don't do anything. Well, Shiryu, remember when Shiryu was going to eat the diamond fruit and kill Mihawk? Maybe that's why we cared. I don't know. Oh, God, it still pisses me off that people actually like that theory. God, fuck. Why do we care about his crew? Do we? How many people have you heard that actually, like, hype up Blackbeard's crew? Hasn't, like, the past, like, 6 years of One Piece been making fun of Jesus Burgess constantly and been like, yeah, Shiryu's got potential. And everyone else is like, whatever. Just Shanks lost his arm to a fish. How's that not fraudulent? That was the plot. It's actually not that bad. Oda didn't even want that to happen. The editors made that happen. Just, do you think CGI is the worst thing to happen to anime? Because I do. The worst thing to happen to anime. It's definitely up there. But I'm not going to lie. I think one of the worst things that has happened to anime in recent years, and this is My Hero and Demon Slayer's fault, but one of the worst things that has happened to anime is the perception of what good animation is. These fucking cubes, bro. These cubes and strobe lights and RGB colored computers. Like, I think that has done an absolute number on the small-brained community that is around anime. I understand best of, but show some respect, bro. Like, I'm like the most. Well, I'm actually Glam's actually the most negative person in the community, but I'm up there. All right, so even I don't want to like answer the original question that you had because I was out of line, man. Just reel it in. I understand, Berserk's goated, but don't be bringing in you know life and death into stuff like that. It's a little out of bounds. Oh, it's my boy Gunter. What's up, Gunter? Oh yes, the power. That's it. I'll tell people now since Glenn brought it up. But something to look forward to in part four when we get to Wano If you guys have noticed, and this will tell you a bit about part three, but I haven't fully tackled power scaling in One Piece. That will be something that happens in Wano because that's where things like really go downhill. That will be a nice juicy section. Yo, what's up, Roanoa Boa? Just beat Melania at level 1. Took me 19 hours. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that sounds like a YouTube video. Let me see. Fuck. Alright, guys, if I'm not answering your questions, just keep copy pasting them because I'm just trying to catch up to the chat to a certain degree. How do you feel about One Piece anime fights being animated like Dragon Ball Z with the auras and all? Um, I feel like this should be an objective take. It's awful. I was actually just thinking about this the other day because I remember seeing a clip of Kinemon shooting a sword beam that like clashed with the Boro breath, and I was like, do you guys remember in Marineford when it was considered really, really impressive because no one else in the story could do it when Mihawk casually slashed the iceberg? And it's like, holy shit, no one has this range. No one can shoot out a sword beam like that. No one can. And like we haven't really seen it since. And then in the anime, like if you put anime Kinemon in Marineford, is he the world's strongest swordsman? You know what I'm saying? That's a good example of how bad the Dragon Ball Z shit is getting. Hey Dritz, do you think Shanks being alive during the final war is going to take away any time sense of danger since Oda loves winking Shanks to be the awesome guy? Well, there's no guarantee that Shanks will be alive for the final war, so that's yet to be determined. So it's kind of hard to answer that. If Shanks is alive, then his impact will probably... it depends on what he's used for. Is he just going to be the random hype man in the corner? Is he just going to stall somebody out? How relevant would he be to the plot? Drizzt, it's like Oda stopped caring about Carrot if he did it all and just gave her something. You know, I won't expand on that, JK, because there's an entire Carrot and Pager section in the Whole Cake Island video. But yes, Oda did stop caring. And I think there's probably good enough evidence to say that Oda just changed his mind and scrapped the characters altogether. Dritz, what will be a satisfying Mihawk flashback for you? You know, it's kind of hard to say because I don't know what Mihawk's character is. Like I understand him, but like there's no real character in the lore. You know what I'm saying? It's like what would Mihawk's flashback be? I don't expect it to be like some like ridiculously sad, you know, like oh my god, I'm gonna cry my eyes out, Mihawk Goater. Would it be Shanks related? Maybe. I don't really expect to see a kid Mihawk, like small Mihawk, medium Mihawk, and big Mihawk, and that's his flashback. We'll see. I don't know where Oda wants to take Mihawk as a character. Will he even take him anywhere? Yeah, I found things to fix Young. Um, I had one of my boys, Cross Counter, if he's still in the chat, check it out. He offered various things. He actually pointed out to me that I actually forgot to add a section in the video. I had it recorded, I had it edited, but I just forgot to add it in there when I was rendering the video. Just in my last question, I was referencing the second half of One Piece, the time skip. Am I disappointed in the time skip? Well, Shiro, I made a video series called The Downfall of One Piece, which is entirely centered around how the post time skip is ruining the story. Yeah, what's up, Neglected? Just without mentioning any names, do you think One Piece clickbaiting got worse? Uh, I was actually thinking about this the other day because, like, I think I hate it more now than I did then, but it's not for the same. It's not just because of the video titles. Like, the video titles I find to be more annoying, but the One Piece clickbaiting has existed since forever. I don't know if you guys have been around, but some of the most original One Piece clickbaiting titles were this thing revealed 100%, and in the thumbnail there would be like a red circle and then an arrow pointing to the red circle. People still do that, by the way, but it would be like Luffy Monkey God Mode revealed, and revealed would be in all caps, and people try to use that to warp the algorithm. And it's like, yeah, those are usually bad videos. Some of them were good, but for me, it's kind of gone to the next level because the way that these clickbait titles are made, like what works, is like the most cringe, stupid shit ever. Like, if this happens with Shanks, I'll cry and shit my pants and become an invalid. It's like there's like these corny one-line sentences. You won't believe what happened in chapter 1056 by Oda. Drit's thoughts on the current succession war in Hunter x Hunter? Um, I'm still excited for it. I mean, this arc has so far Succession War has a bunch of issues. Like, I'm not going to give this shit a pass just because Togashi's writing it. Like, I'm still very interested, but I would be lying if I wasn't saying that I'm mainly interested because of the Hisoka, Spiders subplot. If the Succession War arc was just the princes, I would probably not be fucking with it as much. I like Sarai Nick, but 14 Princes is kind of like it's like the Scabbards. There's a lot of them. Most of them are kind of getting folded, which I like, but it's like, well, whatever. Some of them are alright. But the biggest issue with the Succession War is basically Togashi wasting all of our time by having these fodder guards talk for like 5 pages about something that we already know that happened in the story, but they're just telling us that it happened. Dritz, from your animation statement, I guess you are not a fan of the impact frames or Udapon cubes, and you are more Norio Matsumoto. Oh my god, you're pulling out names. Norio Matsumoto fan liked Yutakata Nakamura's old works better than his modern bro. I don't know who these people are. So, but I'll address the question, Shiro. Am I not a fan of the impact frames or Udapon cubes? when used appropriately, like they're cool. Like I liked them in the pain fight way back in the day, but I don't like every series having it. Like there'll be like a slice of life anime, and there'll be like fucking cubes flying everywhere. I'm like, yo, chill. It's the cubes are a part of it, but it's mainly like if it was just cubes, it wouldn't be that big of an issue. But it's always cubes are always followed by strobe lights, and that's where it kind of it takes me out. Where it's like, yeah, we're getting, Dragon Ball Z was special for a reason, bro. Like it worked here. Sometimes it doesn't work in other places where it's everything goes black and white and it's like just chill. There's a time and a place for it. My main issue with these Udapon cubes is that this is now the basis for what good animation is among casuals. Dritz, be honest, are there any stocks in Akainu at this point in time? Eh. I mean, not really. There's hope. There's hope, but are there like legitimate stocks? No. Oda kind of has an issue with the world government in general, which is they're not allowed to do anything when they are. Oda just like fucking hose them, because like Akainu, obviously Oda has like a preference for Akainu, but like when you boil down Akainu as a fleet admiral, all right, this has kind of been the progression of the plot with like the Marines. So Akainu becomes the fleet admiral, and he's like, okay, Marineford got destroyed by the old man Whitebeard that I put into the dirt. We're gonna combat these Yonko for real. So I'm gonna make a new Marineford in the new world. And it's like, oh shit, in the new world, and I'm gonna combat the Yonko. But what does new Marineford in the new world do? Well, nothing. What are you doing to combat the Yonko? We're not. Oh. Anytime something happens, like if you could Photoshop, what is the head of the newspaper place that Peter Parker works for? Like literally, that is Akainu. That is Akainu as the fleet admiral. And he goes, "Oh, this is burning my ass. The mayor's gonna have my ass for this. Where's Spider-Man? Oh, fuck!" And he just basically does that. It's like the Marines don't do nothing. Jits, are you a Luffy versus Akainu guy or a Saba versus Akainu guy? So there's what I think will happen, and then what I would want to happen. What do I want? I mean, it's kind of like, here's the thing: it's like Akainu's not the final villain. So where would you fit it in a Luffy versus Akainu fight? Like I don't think you can really like do that in the final war, because I think it would be demeaning to Akainu if Luffy beat him and then fought the final villain. You know, I don't think it works. Part 3 coming when, Dritz-sama? Tuesday or Monday of next week. Am I pulling up on the Ghetto Reverie? When is it? Is there even a date yet? I'll pull up if I can pull up. Have I read Chainsaw Man? I have not. Did I finish Oathbringer? Yeah. I finished Oathbringer a long time ago. I still haven't read Rhythms of War yet, though. Let me see. Reading comments. Once again, guys, if I'm not answering them, just copy and paste them. I'll get to them eventually. Unless it's a question about Baki. Who is the man marked with flames? Is that Aokiji? So, I was talking with the Aussies about this. So, it's either going to be Aokiji as a known character or it's a completely new character. The big knock against Aokiji being the guy marked by flames is that it should not be a known fact that somehow Aokiji knows vital information about the One Piece and that everyone knows this except for the main protagonist and his group of friends minus Robin. So the reason that people should think it like the reason people think it's Aokiji is that Robin and Law have reaction panels where it's like, yeah, they know this person or they've heard of this person. So the first thing that comes to your mind is, oh, it might be Aokiji because Robin and Aokiji have a history. It's like, oh yeah, that makes sense maybe. It could also just be a completely new character, maybe that Robin knew of because revolutionary stuff. So my idea is, I think it's going to be a new character, but this new character might be some dude that's on Roadstar. Some group in the story, and conveniently we just got two characters that sailed off, or that are sailing off. Roadstar was introduced for a reason. It needs to be shown by some group of people at some point in the story to show what it's like, because the Straw Hats are not going to go there because they have no reason to go there. So maybe it's some dude at Roadstar, and that's why it's common knowledge. If you reach the end of the Grand Line, people know that this guy exists. Dritz, do you think the Knights of Mary Joa are the last hope of the world government being impressive, or will they end up being like CP0 levels of trash? Okay, wait, hold on. The Knights of Mary Joa, is that a thing? Did I miss this? How have I never heard anyone talk about the Knights of Mary Joa if this is a real thing? Were they mentioned as an elite group or just guards? Dritz, what is the biggest fear you have for the current direction of the Berserk manga? Um, my biggest fear, well, I mean, my biggest fear is that it's just going to be bad and it's going to ruin the story. I'm not going to go into details. My boy Trent's in here. Yo, what's up, Trent? But I don't like where it's going right now. My biggest fear is that we get basically a rush story that doesn't properly convey the depth that the story is supposed to have. What are my overall thoughts on Green Bull? He is the big mom of the admirals. He is a bitch. He's lame. He's bad. All right, so I've been streaming for a little bit. Let's talk about. I'll give my thoughts out there about the chapter, and like what people have missed. So the Green Bull stuff, the Mihawk stuff, and I'll go over it succinctly so that I can kind of cross each one out from the to-do list on the stream. So let's start with Green Bull. Did I like the Green Bull and Shank stuff? No, I did not. As a Shanks fan who is in my top five favorite characters of the story, no, I did not like the Shanks stuff because it comes at the cost of basically the entire respect for the admirals. Like, so, whenever I said earlier that I think Jake of Light on Twitter, at Jake of Light, follow my boy, man. He's got some really banger tweets. Whenever he tweeted that Green Bull was the big mom of the Admirals, he was being correct. But that is not a good thing, right? So something that we all acknowledged, everyone acknowledged this, is that the way that Big Mom has been utilized in the story as a complete and utter clown is not good, right? She is the worst of the Yonko easily so far. Maybe one of the worst shonen villains of all time as of right now. And maybe might be go down once she's completely through, if she isn't already, is that she's a clown. So, completely sacrificing Green Bull was a horrible decision. You spend the previous chapter trying to hype him up, you change his character design, you silhouetted him during the reverie, and you finally reveal him, and then he takes out 2 hurt commanders. And people are like, oh, wow, yes, the Admiral. Admiral stocks are going up. There was like a 2-week period where people had faith. And then in the next chapter, Oda completely undoes everything that he could have done for hyping up the Admirals, all to sacrifice for Shanks, when none of that was needed, right? I want characters to get their just dues. Shanks is supposed to be built different. But you don't want every character to come off as shit compared to another person if it's not cool, right? Green Bull screaming, like almost being like knocked to his feet because of some Conquerors hockey. Just, it's the reactions. I've seen so many people on Twitter, like Bao and other people, cap for the Admirals over the past several weeks and just not getting the entire point of why the Green Bull stuff has been bad. I'm sorry, Bao, if this comes to you, I'm using you as an example because you're the person that I followed that I saw doing this, okay? Right? People were saying that, well, what did you expect the Admiral to do? There's like 3 Yonko crews there. Of course he's not going to fight them all. Yo, the fandom is so wild. But it's not a matter of the logic. It's a matter of how things happen, right? If Green Bull had looked cool at all during his retreat, it wouldn't have mattered. No one would have given him shit. We would have called out Oda for using Green Bull and Shanks only to promote Film Red and for no actual plot reason in the entire arc. But we'd be like, well, I'm not going to knock Green Bull down because he didn't want to fight 3 Yonko at once and he looked cool while doing so. The main issue is how it comes across, which is Green Bull literally shits himself. Conquer's hockey wave has him going, ah! And Momo uses a borrow breath, and his reaction, even though he says he doesn't get hurt, is to do, ah! Ah! Fuck! Fuck! But I'm okay. I'm not weak to fire. It completely destroys the illusion behind the characters, and it hurts the Admirals. This wouldn't be so bad if the Admirals were already a good group, but they aren't. Character-wise, the Admirals are better than the Yonkos, but power scaling-wise and respecting the story and how they're utilized, they're just as ass, if not, well, I wouldn't say more ass because Big Mom exists, but they're also ass. All of the world powers suck. So no, I can't get behind hyping up Shanks if it's actually not even, at the end of the day, that cool. I don't feel rewarded for it. Would have been a lot cooler if it wasn't a gag, essentially. So no. Admiral's down bad. Green Bull looks like an idiot. And Oda's probably going to want you to respect this character at another point in time. It's like, oh, no. That's not happening. Another fuck you to the Admirals, but hype up Shanks. Sick. So no, not. Like, another perspective to look at this from is that, so, I'll use some of my friends as an example. Right? There are people like, King of Lightning, they're Torlados, who absolutely love this stuff because they inherently hate the Marines and want them to get clowned on. So for them, this is a complete and utter W because it's like an agenda, essentially. Whereas for me, I want the characters to come off where it's like, if there's a sacrifice to be made, I enjoy the sacrifice. I want both parties, both like the Yonko, I want the characters to be written as well as humanly possible. So one of them taking a massive hit for the other one to go up, it's something that I'm not a fan of. So I don't find enjoyment in that. It'd be like the same thing of like, and this, we'll transition into, let's see, what were the other topics? So we got Green Bull. Okay. This is another thing. I'll tie this into, which is another thing that I did not like, which is the Sabo stuff. And I mean specifically with the Sabo stuff, which is the hype around him by the world. I actually do not like, and this goes along with the Green Bull stuff, I do not like the a massive amounts of fame and allure that Sabo is getting, because it completely overshadows what is supposed to be the man that is the world's most wanted person. So, in seemingly one event, Sabo became more infamous, more known throughout the world than the world's worst criminal, who pussied out and didn't go to that place himself. So, while I know that Sabo is supposed to be next up, it doesn't feel as good when the guy that he's supposed to be replacing is also ass cheeks. Dragon took an L by the fact that Sabo completely outshined him. Or outshone him, I guess, would be the correct word. So I'm not a fan of that either. Because, it still comes at the sacrifice. Because, like, Oda's, like, sacrificing Dragon for the hype of Sabo. Which is, like, the same thing that I talked about with Shanks in Green Bull. Which is you're sacrificing the characters unjustly. It's like, give the other guy something as well. The last time we saw Dragon, he was sweating his balls off because he was too much of a pussy to go declare war against the people that he wants to destroy more than anyone else. It's like, oh, sick, dude, nice. And then whenever he gets word back that, whenever Dragon gets word back that something bad might have happened to the only relevant person in his entire organization full of bums, Sabo, he's like, oh shit, oh fuck, how did this happen? If only I would have went as the leader and strongest person in the group. Oh, shit. So Dragon looks like a bum. So no, like, I'm not the biggest fan of that. Can it be recovered? Maybe. But the Revolutionaries as a group are pretty much bankrupt in the story. So I don't like that for him, and we'll tie this together with Mihawk. Personally, I'll preface it by saying the Mihawk stuff could end up going in a very, very positive direction. So whatever happens with this cross-guild information, this could be very good for the story. But I will say, as a vehicle, I inherently despise this idea. And I will back this up by asking the same question that I asked the Shanks fanboys, the Torlados, in private discussion, which was, would you like this plot development if instead of Mihawk, it was Shanks? Would you feel equally as excited? And the answer was no. No, they wouldn't. They would feel bummed out because of it. And for those exact reasons are the same reasons why I do not like this movement for Mihawk. We all know, even when the spoilers came out, this is a meme, right? Mihawk's not actually following Buggy. We know there's some random bullshit involved. That's not the point, though. The point isn't whether or not the information is true, because like it's too ridiculous to believe or even to hint at the idea of it being true. The entire reason why this is important is, one, is that it kind of devalues a legacy character that has almost nothing next to them in the story, because Mihawk has been in about maybe 3 minutes of material in the entire story, excluding filler. And two, Mihawk is being used to hype up Buggy. Of all people, Buggy. So no, I don't like it. Of course I wouldn't like it. I don't just because LOL Buggy, that means it's funny, doesn't work for me. I don't want my legacy hype character that is the entirety of Zoro's dream to be like, wow, the world thinks that Buggy's so great because he's got, oh, wow, if look at Law's dialogue in this chapter. That's what, the rest of the world thinks that doesn't know Mihawk, because Mihawk's an irrelevant character in the story, which is, wow, Buggy must be really great if he got someone like Mihawk, the guy who's supposed to be the world's strongest swordsman, to be his underling. And the Marines are the same way. They're like, wow, Buggy must be crazy. Oh, jeez, Louise. And I'll bring up another detail which kind of makes this all moot. So the cross-guild organization as an idea, it doesn't work. So on paper, when you think of pirates putting bounties on Marines and then hunting Marines, it's like, oh, well, that's interesting. But then when you think about it, the marine hunting literally can't go anywhere in the story, and it won't be good no matter what happens, because any marine that's hunted, there's no good outcome. So, because like, what are your options, right? The only marines that matter in the entire story, in terms from a strength department, are the admirals, and no admiral can be defeated. Otherwise, it ruins what's more, an already ruined power structure, which is the marines. But since there are no strong marines outside of the admirals, if you hunt any of the other ones, like Vice Admiral Shitbag, or like, someone like that, Captain Buttocks, no one cares. Like, Mihawk defeating Momonga, Dalmatian, or Onigumo doesn't do anything for the allure of the characters, because the top tiers are already at a point in time where if one takes out the other, it does severe damage to the power structure, but not in a good way. So in any story, and this goes along with what we talked about with Green Bull Shanks, Sabo, and Dragon, right? In any story, there are sacrifices. Well, any story that is like properly written to a certain degree that has fighting, there needs to be sacrifices. In order to prop up other characters above other characters, you eventually need to sacrifice people. But if you want people to still maintain respect or enjoy the process of doing that, right? If you write characters that you want to be entertaining to the audience, you can't do that if you don't properly write the power structure. So One Piece is at a point in time where all of the power structures are underwritten and have kind of gone downhill over time. The warlords, the Marines are in the mud, and the Yonko themselves have collapsed over time, and that's the three great powers. Big Mom's out, Kaido's a fraud, Big Mom sucks, Shanks is like the redeeming light, and Blackbeard's not in the story yet. Marines, nothing said about them. Revolutionaries also, they're on Kamabaka Kingdom, and then the warlords are kind of defunct. So whenever these parties weren't fleshed out enough prior to Oda wanting to make sacrifices to them, anytime you do make a sacrifice to a top tier, it's going to come at the conflict of something that's unsatisfying for the story, rather than, oh my god, this character is so much better because they beat X character. Right? Because like there was an example given to me yesterday in conversation, which was, how would I feel if Mihawk went and beat Kizaru and turned in the bounty for his head? And my answer is, I wouldn't like it. I don't care that that's technically good on paper for Mihawk. I don't like it because the entire structure for the Marines is shit, and I want it to be good before a character is sacrificed. So I don't want the story to proactively get worse. So it doesn't make it good just because one character benefits. Like, that's not good for the story. Which is one of the things why I inherently dislike it. So, yeah, this gag stuff with Buggy, lame. Also wasn't needed. No, Kaido's a fraud because his lore is all fraudulent. Oh, I got donations. Mr. Taco about it. Oh, damn. How can the pirates pay the people to hunt Marines? Logically, the Marines have the cash because they are the government. This will go nowhere. Toby Ropo stuff. I mean, I don't know how serious. It's not like Buggy could be rich. Who knows? Maybe Buggy's rich beyond our wildest dreams and we don't know it. I'm not really worried about the funds. That's not something I'm going to harp on. Yeah, what's up, Christian? Thoughts on Kaido as a villain? Well, I'll leave that for when I get to the Wano portion of part 4, because that's kind of like an ongoing thing about the Downfall series as I analyze the villains. In short, though, without going into details, I don't think he's a good villain. Dritz, you mentioned Mihawk, but what about Crocodile being used to hype up Buggy? Unless I missed it. So I didn't bring up Crocodile because to me, Crocodile is nowhere near as important in terms of downplaying as Mihawk is, and I don't think that's debatable. Do I like Mihawk? Do I like Crocodile being downplayed like this? I'm not as butthurt about it because I know a little bit more about Crocodile and he could be doing stuff, but I still don't like it. Right? It's like it's the same principle. It's there to hype up Buggy, and Oda can take that gag and shove it. I'm not a fan of it. But I'll reiterate, because it probably got lost before I went on my rant, which is I still think this can go someplace good, but as a vehicle for change, I inherently dislike this avenue. No, that's what people wanted Kaido to be, Manjeet. Whenever we first saw Kaido, everyone wanted Kaido to be a powerhouse meathead brawler, and that was it. But that's not what Kaido is. Kaido ended up kind of becoming that, but it's not the way that he actually was supposed to be. All of his dialogue and shit throughout the fight completely implies a greater depth of character. We just got a really, really bad flashback. How would you feel about if it was Weevil instead of Mihawk? Well, I was never given a reason to care about Weevil. So if Weevil was used to hype up Buggy, whatever. You lose a lot less from using Weevil to do that than you do a legacy character in someone's dream. Dritz, overall, compared to the other Straw Hats, would you say that Robin got good treatment in Wano because she finally got a fight in her whole plot line with Pluton? Did Robin get it good compared to the other Straw Hats? Well, Robin had a bad fight. She does have the Pluton stuff. That's like the only thing Robin has going for her. But I think the Pluton stuff is actually flawed. So I'm not going to list that as a positive. And I'm not going to explain why it's flawed because I'll do that in the video. But even with all of those flaws, did Robin have it better than some of the Straw Hats? She didn't have it better than Frankie. I don't think. They're comparable. Actually, she might have had it worse than Frankie. Yeah, she did. Thoughts on Roger begging Odin to join his crew with permission from Whitebeard instead of doing a tense Davy back fight? Well, I mean, I don't have an issue with it. I'm not. I'm not a. I was never really a big believer in the Davy back fight stuff that people seem to hold on to as like we need to flesh this out. What's your favorite narrative in Wano? Momo's plotline? No, I hate Momo. My favorite narrative in Wano. Hmm. There's so little to choose from. I'm really thinking hard here. My favorite. You know, I don't even like this moment, but considering the rest of what we have, is that no? That's not really a plot. That's like a moment. That's not a plot line. I was going to say Tony Yasu, but that's not a plot line. That's a moment. Even then, that's kind of like Zoro kind of messes that up by himself. Hmm. Hmm. Oh shit. Okay. This might be it. Oh, wait, is that even a plot line or is that just stuff happening? I was also going to say Toko, but then nothing happens with Toko. Hmm. I'm in a pickle. I'm in a pickle. Fuck. Well, let me use my big, massive brain. I'm going to go with Toko. I don't care. I got nothing. I got nothing. I can't think of a single plot line that was like the none of them stand out as like even being neutral. I don't know if there was a single good one. I'm just going to default to Toko. Dritz, what arc was more painful to read when it was coming out? Wano, Whole Cake Island, or the boat arc in Berserk? Well, I wasn't there for the boat arc in terms of like being there for each new chapter, so I can't comment on that. That will be up there though, simply because it was a horrible reading experience for just to wait like years for it. So I'll say out of Wano and a Whole Cake Island, Whole Cake, mainly because of the engagement within the community. That's what made it worse. Is I was a different man in Wano, so it didn't hit the same. The Shanks plotline. If that was a plotline, Christian, I would have said it, but it's a moment. You are one of my favorite YouTubers. Dritz says self improvement. This is like a pun. Yo, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Isol says, "What do you think about the Wano and Pluton lore?" Uh, Eh. I wouldn't say I'm like one way or the other. So, because I had to kind of separate like what I think is cool from like, is it bad or anything? It's like, I think there are parts of it that become bad, mainly because Robin's a character. Um, I still think the border stuff is kind of whack. I think Oda made a mistake by not actually giving details about why it even matters and just leaving it to the Void Century. That's a progressive issue in One Piece, which or a progressing issue, which is Oda keeps refusing to give basic answers because he can't, because he feels like he can't because oh my god, Void Century. But in terms of here's the thing for me, right? Personally, I like even though I think it's cool that like underneath Wano there's like another Wano and it's like oh my god Pluton might be there. Um, I'm still kind of a bit bummed out personally that Pluton isn't in Alabasta. As an idea, I got a lot more fun and engagement out of the idea of Pluton being underneath the sand somewhere in a giant desert. I thought that idea was fucking cool. It ties along with Crocodile. I'm like, oh, Crocodile went there for a reason, but now it's like Crocodile went there for no reason. Let's go. He thought it was there. His information was wrong. Uh, I'm like, what? But as far as the lore goes, I'm not too up on it to be honest. It's not like a game changer for me, but I don't really like it. But I don't hate it. Crocodile had no chance of getting Pluton. It's not about if he had a chance to. Well, he technically did have a chance. It's about whether or not it was a true statement. On the other hand, though, it's like I don't know if I care as much about this, especially because I didn't get to see the events happen for me to like care. But the Pluton not being in Wano kind of makes the Cobra moment better, where it's like, why the fuck are we doing this? So it kind of adds a bit there, but I'm still a bit bummed out because of it. It's like, the Cobra stuff's never really going to like impact me more than how it could have been if Reverie was an actual arc. So it's like, Cobra dying and like what he went there for. It's like, yeah, I want to know, but I really wanted Pluton to be in Alabasta. Oh well. What I'm more disappointed in actually, um, is I think I wouldn't have done this if I was Oda, but I'm disappointed that we left this arc with no like even not even a silhouette, like a lurking shadow, like somewhere underneath wherever the fuck Pluton is. Give us like a soft visual of what this thing looks like to like build the hype around it. I don't like that we Pluton didn't matter for the entire arc and then it's just pushed in there at the end, and then we leave the arc without it still mattering. Essentially, it's like, yo, dude, give me something. Like, just stop. Like, it wouldn't have even mattered if you hadn't have told me. Like, give me something to like continue to get hyped over. Give me like a visual. This would be the time where a silhouette would actually be good. I think VV is the key to Pluton, so it's half an Alabasta, if you get what I'm saying. Uh, I mean, if that's true or not true, fine, I guess. I mean, we'll see. Range says Pluton is VV. That's ass. I'm sorry. Like, regardless of like the cuteness behind the idea, I think that's a bad like that's a very unfulfilling answer. So I'm not going to diss whether or not there's evidence for it, but I think as a conceptually as an idea, VV being Pluton is kind of lame. Like this thing was hyped up as a warship. Make it an actual ship. Don't make it some like Poseidon, like oh she can control something that actually matters. Like if VV is the key to Pluton, fine, but don't make VV actual Pluton. You know what I'm saying? Like make Pluton an actual vehicle that lives up. Make it like a non-sentient, lurking behemoth. Thoughts on the Nidai Katetsu subplot being completely dropped? Goda. I mean, there's really not much to say about it. Oda just, he bit off way more than he can chew, and he had to sacrifice a lot of things. Dritz, how bad does CP0 look? They failed to do anything in this arc, and Rob Lucci still does nothing. CP0 are in the gutter. There is no reason to... If anything, I think CP0 in this arc got confirmed to not matter. Unless there's a part of them that are actually good. But CP0, obviously, all frauds in this arc. They didn't do shit except for suck. Um, and there's probably reason to believe that Rob Lucci is not strong at this point. So, yeah, CP0 in the mud. Thoughts on the current state of My Hero? I have not read My Hero in quite a long time, so I can't. I mean, I haven't got much to say. Have any YouTubers responded to the downfall of One Piece yet? Well, I mean, Joy Boy made an entire slander piece, but outside of that, no. I think everyone else kind of just left it alone for the most part. Thoughts on Marco never meeting Luffy? Drop plotline that's getting less attention than it probably should have been. Well, if I wanted to be an asshole, I'd say that it wasn't actually a plotline for Marco to meet Luffy. But should Marco have met Luffy? Yes, it should have. And obviously, this is something that should have happened. Just Pluton and Wano kind of ruins the Robin line to Crocodile since Crocodile never had the chance to get it, even if he knew its location. Yeah, it changes the context of the scene because like it wasn't in Alabasta. Everyone except for Robin like fervently believed that yes, this shit is in Alabasta. That's what our knowledge tells us, but it's not. Technically, like Robin like lied, but told the truth at the same time. But it's like, oh, she did know where it was. She just fucking she didn't say it. Drizzt, are the remaining Supreme Grade Blades going to matter now? No. My prediction moving forward is that the only Supreme Blades that are ever going to matter till the end of the story are going to be the one or two that, like, quote unquote, swordsmen have. The rest will be in SBS as confirmed through outside information. Fillmore Jake says, "Is it my fault to want to see relevant information shown in the story and not reading about it in an SBS?" No, it's not your fault. Now that Wano is pretty much over, which do you think is worse between it and the Fourth Great Ninja War? They're comparable to each other. But it's kind of different because Fourth Great Ninja War was the ending of a story, and the endings of a story have a greater impact than something that isn't the end of a story. Like, Naruto might be looked at a lot differently if, say, the Fourth Great Ninja War happened and then a different arc ended the story. Like, people would say it's one of the worst arcs ever, but would it be as bad as people will say it is if that wasn't the conclusion of the story? You know? Wano may very well be the worst arc of all time that isn't the ending of a story. It's certainly up there for the debate. But Naruto's got the whole "this is the final part of the story" shit going for it. So it's honestly, I would have to reread the Fourth Great Ninja War to make a complete comparison after looking through all of the details. Are me and JB cool? No. No, we're not. We are no longer friends. Although, going back to the Fourth Ninja War and Wano thing, the ironic thing about it is that despite the Fourth Great Ninja War being the end of Naruto, it wasn't something that was built up for a long time. Uh, Wano was built up for like 10 or like 15 years. It's the entire point of the post time skip. And it fails spectacularly, so it's got that going for him. There are interesting dynamics between what Wano is and how the Fourth Great Ninja War was. Since you finished both, which is worse, the Monster Association arc or Wano? Wano easily. The fourth war had higher highs, so I got over Wano. It definitely has higher highs than Wano easily. The end goal of the whole story wasn't built up. That was not the end goal of the whole story. I actually don't agree with that. The war was never really a thing until the Pain arc happened. That was not a built-up occurrence. What happened between me and Joy Boy? Well, I mean, it's pretty simple, boys. I made the downfall of One Piece, and that ended our friendship. What are your thoughts on the Straw Hats leaving Wano when Chopper hasn't cured the people of Okabora Town? I brought this up yesterday in a conversation. I remember when people thought Chopper was going to cure Smile? Well, I guess we're just leaving. To be fair, to a certain, I think it's. I'll have to go back and reread to get the finer details. But I actually don't remember if it was clearly implied that Chopper was going to heal them, or that was his desire. I actually forget. I'm not sure if that's something that people just thought was a foregone conclusion with Chopper, or if Chopper alluded to the fact that he was going to do it. It's Chopper though, so I mean, like you can't knock me for forgetting. Hey, Dritz, when is part three? Uh, Part three will be Monday or Tuesday. Wing. Also, Wing, I saw a comment earlier from you. I just remembered it, but you said, "What do you have to do to get into the Reverie?" Well, I mean, at this point in time for the Reverie, bro, unless like someone hosts it where like they basically kind of like scam you in essentially. The way to get into the Reveries is to become a notable content creator, for one reason or another. Dritz doesn't like Garo, says Garo. Yo, oh shit. Oh, he's here, bro. Um, I don't like what happened to Garo. Garo. I did like him, but I don't like the direction where he went for the arc in terms of his ending. Listen, guys, I'm not going to go into specific details about mine and Joy Boy's history because it's something that other people in the community know of that are are close to me, but I'm not going to put it out there into the streets so that maybe potentially bad can happen, or people can start talking shit about some person or other. It's private. All I have to say is that the shit's over. It's done with. I moved on a while ago, and I don't really, as of right now, I don't hold any resentment or anything. Like I'm cool. Dritz, but what put Saitama in the mud? What put Saitama in the mud is that his character development went completely out the window. Like, I feel like this should be a very obvious criticism of the recent chapters, which is like the entire drama that caused Saitama to develop, to make him care more and like have regrets about like how he acted with Genos For all of that to be undone, and then for Genos once like the arc to end, like everything to end in the same way that it always fucking ends, which is Genos is like, oh, Saitama doesn't even know, he's not getting credit. Oh, fuck my dick. And it's like, oh, Jesus Christ, you just wasted my time. Like it is. Ugh. Saitama got interesting whenever he kind of realized what happened. What would have been cool is if Saitama maintained his memories and something actually happened because of it. Like, I think losing his memories and not remembering is a very bad writing decision. Dritz, from your comments about the war in Naruto, I take it that you would want to see the original Part 3 of Naruto instead of Boruto? The original Part 3. I'm actually not sure what this is. Could you enlighten me, Shiro? I've never heard of the original Part 3 when it comes to Naruto. Will Garp, Sengoku, and Suru have bounties similar to Roger Whitebeard? I like how you threw in Suru there, Wing. No, they won't. I would be surprised if there was a single bounty that went over like 1.7 billion. It's odd that Chopper wouldn't try to cure the smile since that is his dream too. Yes. At one point in time, this might have been in the cards. This might have been something that Oda wanted to do, but it's gone. Chopper had the Ice Oni stuff instead. Congratulations. Dritz, rank Sasuke, Killua, and Zoro from best to worst. How about I rank them from favorite to least favorite? Alright. I can do that. Favorite. Between Sasuke and Killua. Whew. I'm gonna go Sasuke, Killua, Zoro. Although, if I was going pre-time skip Zoro, I'd probably have Zoro number 2. Besides the Yamato, Sanji, and Big Mom stuff, what was the most groan-worthy moment in Wano? You want to know the first thing that came to my mind? I think this is actually hilarious, and I've never seen anyone but myself bring this up. But the citizen's final words to Odin when he dies, to me, might be one of the... It might be the cringiest thing in the entire story of One Piece. It's up there with some of the shit that happened in, like, Punk Hazard. Whenever the citizens scream and cry, "Oh, it was born to boil! Oh, as he goes into the plot, that may be one of the cringiest things in the entire story of One Piece. Dritz Kishimoto, in an interview related to Naruto, said the last movie he initially wanted 3 parts, with the third detailing Naruto's early adulthood. I don't know. I guess I would have to see what the plot was for that was supposed to be honest. Guys, do you not remember this? Yes, yes, Gavin. That is literally what happened. Hold on, let me fuck. Let's see if I can pull this up real quick. This is part of the panel, guys. Oh, boy, the boil. Oh, fuck. Oh, what's up, Big Feej? Sasuke over Killua, yikes. Yeah, I like Sasuke more than Killua. Sasuke's more flawed than Killua, though. That's why I said I'll do favorite. I like Sasuke more than I like Killua. Kishimoto's a big fraud, too. Oh, that's been known. We know Kishi's a fraud. Am I hyped for Film Red? Nah, man. Not anymore. I was, but I know the plot of the movie now, and I'm out, man. Did you guys see the person who does Yuda's voice singing Bink Sake? I don't know, man. How does this stream affect LeBron's legacy? Will LeBron opt in and sign for the max amount of money, or will he pull a Tim Duncan and take no money? Come on, LeBron, do it. The conviction. Do it, LeBron. Or should I say, the money? A few minutes behind, but you just pinpointed why this resolution was so disappointing and empty for me, even though it was the same as any other One Punch Man battle. Exactly. Exactly, Virgil. Dritz, the plot of Part 3 of Naruto would start with Sasuke looking into Kaguya's origins. The last design was originally designed for Part 3. Nah, I'm good then. I'm good. I did not need that. Just before the obvious reveal, were you thinking Luffy was going to be Joy Boy? What I thought he was obviously going to be the Joy Boy equivalent. I don't know if he was literally going to be Joy Boy, but I've argued for the longest time. I feel like people can probably back this up, but I've been arguing the Destiny portion of One Piece for a long time. I've been talking about this. No one believed me. They said no, it wasn't. It was not the same thing. And then the Destiny stuff happened. It's like, yeah, let's see where it goes. So far, not good. Why did you delete that Bink Sake tweet, Dritz? I didn't want to pile on as much. I was like, you know, man, maybe I'll get in trouble for doing this. I'll just reel it back. Do I feel like Togashi's writing is too clinical to care about the characters? To a certain degree, yeah, Christian. Sometimes I feel like Togashi can get so caught up in the details that he forgets the emotion. Dritz, I assume you're done with big long battle series. No, I mean I'll still read whatever if it has a chance of if I like it. I'm not done with anything just because of what happened here with One Piece. Am I going to be jaded? Sure. Am I done? No. Have I read the webcomic version of the fight? It's really good. I did read it. I remember liking it, but could I tell you intense details about the fight? No, it was a really long time ago. I just know that I can't tell you, but I just know that Garo was better. Like that, I know that his moment of evil was him shitting on all the S classes, and then when Saitama comes in and fucks him up, I like that. They're still denying the Destiny reincarnation thing stuff, yeah, and they're going to keep denying it, but it's a thing. It's real. What was the tweet? Um, it was you know how there's like the meme of like the Golden State Warriors kind of stopping themselves from laughing during the national anthem. It was that, but the audio was replaced with Uta singing. Where would Marineford rank amongst my favorite Berserk arcs? That has threw me for a loop. Okay, where would if I were to insert randomly somehow a Marineford into Berserk arcs, where would it rank? Well, obviously Golden Age, Falcon are better. Um, I'd say Conviction is better as well, mainly because of Lost Children. If Lost Children wasn't a thing, I would say Marineford clears. Do I think there will be a proper farewell between Law and the Straw Hats? Hmm. I don't know, man. The Straw Hats kind of like a weird relationship with Law because Sanji like fucking hates him. No one else cares except for Robin maybe, and like Luffy might say bye. They might see like, see you later, Tra guy. See you next time, friend. And he'll be like, I'm not your friend, and then they leave. Just do you think hard work is greater than talent is a major thematic message of Part 1 Naruto, and if so, how well do you feel executed in Part 1? Um, yeah, I would say it's a pretty. I don't if it's a major theme. Yeah, it's a pretty prevalent message. How well is it executed? I wouldn't say it's executed amazingly, but I'd say it's all right. Jits, what One Piece girls would you still simp? No one. They all suck. Wait, are we adopting the Sentinel on this Lost Children shit? Or we're doing it for the chat, Christian? Jits, how do you feel about the new elaboration of Saitama's power? It might be one of the most, like, dude, whenever Murata started talking about Saitama atoms and Gara atoms, I literally just, like, looked at the pages and went to the next page. Like, okay, I'm out of this. Like, let me skip forward. Hey, Jits, any hopes for Blackbeard or Boa Hancock for the final saga? None for Boa. Blackbeard, I have some small remnants of hope. Do I think Lakers will make the playoffs next year? Depends if AD is healthy. If AD plays more games than last year, I think they make the playoffs, yeah. Do you think Oda realizes how much he hurt the Admiral's portrayal? No. Where do you think the Marines versus Boa Hancock's going to go, by the way? I think Boa's going to get captured. I'm going to go with whatever the worst scenario is. Who's down worse overall so far, the Yonko or the Marines? See, we have an interesting dilemma here. So, as characters, the Marines are better. But when it comes to the power structure of the world, the Yonko are better. Big Mom is arguably one of the worst villains in any story ever. But she's at least kind of strong, even though she's a really bad fighter. I would say that the Yonko have it better than the Admiral simply because the Yonko are so gassed up in terms of strength. Whereas the important part of the Admirals, which is not their character, it's actually supposed to be their strength, isn't. So the Marines have it worse. Dritz, does Oda even think the Admirals are top tiers? Has the community completely misgauged the story? We won't know until the end of the story. We don't know. Are the Admirals top tiers? We won't know for sure until we see them do shit, to be honest. Dritz, do you think it's pointless having Sword and the Revolutionary Army? Hmm, a little bit, but not because the Revolutionary Army exists. Here's the caveat to it. I don't think sword existing is the same as the Revolutionary Army existing because here's the thing about like until Green Bull showed up, and I'm gonna say this, until Green Bull made his giant speech about prejudice being the best thing ever, um, I did not think the Marines were actually that evil. Like I thought the Marines were actually kind of good guys that for some reason that Oda has never explained choose to not overthrow the celestial dragons for being stupid. They act as if there's nothing they can do about it. Even though they could put to throw a military coup and kill everyone if they really wanted to. But there's got to be some reason that their morals can't win out. Because even though like Akainu is a very underhanded guy against pirates, I never thought that Akainu was evil, like strictly evil in like the One Piece sense. So there being a sword faction within the Marines to go against basically like the Marines, it's kind of odd considering the Marines aren't like a bad group, you know? What do I think Aokiji's role is going to be in the future story? Specifics to be determined. Uh, but I think the inevitable fate of Aokiji is that he's going to save Robin one more time and then die. Hey, Dritz, hey, Storm. Thoughts on Shanks Conquers Hockey? Also, what do you think of Demon Robin? Shanks Conquers Hockey is impressive. It's kind of what we expected, but, you know, we finally got it, so, you know, it was very impressive. What do I think of Demon Robin? Lame. Why am I done with Boa? Boa to me is I don't care about Boa as soon as she's going to get packed up by Kobe. I'm out on Boa as soon as that happens because then I know what's going to happen with her, and I'm not there for it. $10 from the cartoon. He says, of the New World fights that Luffy has gotten into, which, if any, do you think he should have lost or had assistance in beating? I think Luffy should have lost to Katakuri. I think Luffy should have lost to Katakuri as well. Which, if any, do you think he should have lost or had assistance in beating? I mean, yeah, well, I mean, Kaido as well. I'll throw in Kaido as well. Do I still believe Revolutionary Army has been useless and underwhelming? Yes, absolutely. Recent chapter has changed nothing in my mind because I don't think the status of the Revolutionary Army has changed at all. If anything, I'm more disillusioned with the Revolutionary Army now than I've ever been. Yeah, Akainu blowing up the ship of civilians is pretty ridiculous, but I understand the reasoning of why he did it. Like strictly follow orders, complete the mission, sort of shit. Like I don't think he did that any out of malice towards people. Like he did that because like yeah, it doesn't matter if they live or die, We gotta do this because absolute, we have to be completely thorough, or he lacks the empathy to do that. But when you see a kind of just like walking around talking to people, I don't think of a Kainu as like an evil guy. Or like nothing that a Kainu did during Marineford was like evil. That was just battle. Thoughts on Carrot becoming the new Duke? Gonna have to wait for the next chapter to get confirmation. There is the possibility that it doesn't happen because we didn't get to see Carrot actually accept the role. We just saw other people talking for her. So there's the possibility, however unlikely, that it doesn't happen. But if that's what happens, then Carrot was done. I mean, Carrot's already done dirty. It doesn't really matter what happens. But Carrot would have been done extra dirty. Lack of empathy could be argued as evil. The thing is, we don't really know enough about Akainu because there are plenty of soldiers, there are pleny of generals that have ordered the acts of slaughter or murder, but I don't know if you would actually call them morally corrupt people, depending on the situation. Like, for anyone that's ever thought of anything, like for any of the wars that have ever occurred throughout humankind, right? The people leading the charges in the war that have ordered the men to fight and then die against other men for whatever reason, are they all the same? Right? If you're ordered to do a mission and you obey orders down to the T, are you evil? Are you just a peasant? Are you just a pawn? Right? Is a Kainu the same as the Gorosei? Right? If Luffy doesn't care about, like, until recently, Luffy didn't care about the civilians of any country ever. Did that make him bad? Like, is Akainu the same as, like, even the Gorosei have empathy. They're obviously twisted, though, because they did not want to kill Clover in the Ohara flashback. They killed him because he went too far. They didn't want to kill him. But is it kind of the same as the Gorosei in the Celestial Dragons? Are they the same type of person, or is Akainu just ridiculously off in one direction when it comes to all pirates are evil no matter what? Like, he doesn't recognize the good side of pirates, kind of like how prior to Smoker meeting Luffy, when Smoker was a character, if someone was a pirate, a perceived bad guy, would Smoker have been the same as Akainu in terms of like base, the way they view the world? All pirates bad, doesn't matter, get them out of here. There's a bit of complexity there. Also, I think if an inevitable destruction of the fleet admiral position happens, where it turns out that Akainu and Aokiji are in on something or something like that. Akainu never beat Aokiji, and they made some sort of plan that goes one way. Also, Akainu did allegedly spare Aokiji's life, and he kind of defended him in a way against the Gorosei by like saying, he's just some bum, don't worry about him, he doesn't matter. Kind of shoved it off in a way where it's like, him and Aokiji were kind of supposed to be like fucking enemies, but it doesn't really seem like there's too hard of a feeling there, at least not yet. Aokiji came and told Smoker to tell Akainu to ready the admirals and get them ready. It's like, ooh, okay, well, would Aokiji do that if Akainu was the guy leading in charge? Did he do that just because like he just knew it needed to happen? Did it even amount to anything? Not really, but no, there's some little things going on here and there. Greenville being in a kind of fanboy is an awful writing decision. I never expected it to happen. I wouldn't have had an issue with it if Greenville, like what happened with Greenville, didn't happen. Yeah, I'm not saying Akainu is complete like he's a completely good person, but it's not like it's complete. What I'm saying is it's not one sided. Like Akainu's flaw is absolute justice, which is there's no room for gray. It's either black or it's white. You're either with us or you're against us. And if you're against us, then mob mentality. You're fucking out of here. So he's flawed at a fundamental level, but is he straight up evil? Ah, I don't know. I don't think so. Like that's not the impression that I get. Maybe I can be convinced of otherwise. Dritz, is Scopper Gabon in the same position as Shikin Smoothie? He's in canon filler. Well, I'm not sure how many people remember this, but Oda's given us a statement about what he wanted to do with Scopper Gabon, and it was always up in the air. There's I don't know if it's an SBS or something or a data book. Well, but Oda says that he may bring in Scopper Gabon later in the story, but he left it up in a way where it wasn't for certain. Like he may or may not do it. Jits, if I remember correctly, you said that you hated Luffy. I hate Luffy now. I didn't always hate Luffy. I hate Luffy. I started. Here's the thing. I'll talk about this when I get to Wano, like as like a video topic, like in the downfall. But my dislike for Luffy started. It momentarily went away after this, but it began in Whole Cake Island. There are many things that Luffy did there that got on my nerves, that made me start to dislike his character. And then, we got the intermission with the Reverie. I kind of forgot. I was like, oh, whatever. We had Act 1. I was like, there's some potential here. And then Wano has made me completely turn against Luffy. I do not like this character anymore. I'm completely against him. Anytime he's on screen, I don't want to be there. And there are reasons for that, which I will get into. But I didn't always hate Luffy. Luffy was one of my favorite characters. But Luffy has suffered from the effect that has happened to a few series, which I'll get into depth later. You already know, Trent. Just what about Kizaru? He's not evil, but given his ideal of justice, he has no issue with Weevil killing civilians when he was a warlord. Well, the government also has no issue with like bringing in random people like Green Bull and Fujitora who we don't even know what their past is, and giving us the position of admiral for some reason. Kizaru's, if anything, Kizaru's kind of in a weirder spot because he kind of reminds me of, in a way, he kind of reminds me of just like a lot of just people who work for the government, which is, I'm just gonna do this. Like, you don't really think about the ramifications. You just like, this is my job. This is what I do. Whatever. This is work. Like, if in a different world, if like Akainu was pure evil, like there's nothing standing in between the like the white or black, and he's completely on like the celestial dragon side. Kizaru would kind of remind me of like someone who worked as a soldier in like in like the Nazi party, where like kind of got indoctrinated. He brought in there. He's like, there. It's kind of like the statement I don't know if you guys heard, but like, a lot of people would turn into those type of people if they were placed in those circumstances. Kizaru cares so little that he doesn't really care about the moral implications of stuff, which in a way may be worse. Depends on what you think. Would I say Naruto over One Piece? As of right now, well, Trent, to be fair, I'd have to rewatch Naruto and reread it to get like a, because it's been years, dude. It's been years at this point. So it's not like it's as fresh in my mind as One Piece is, since I know like all of the details for One Piece. But if I were to reread or rewatch Naruto, I would probably have it over One Piece. That's my prediction. Who I think is worse between Sakura and Yamato? Design principle, I think Yamato's infinitely worse. Is Blackbeard evil to me? In a way, but that he doesn't give a shit about anything other than his own dream. He's like, he's evil in a significantly worse sense. Like how we don't really know what the thing is. It's kind of weird because we don't really know what Blackbeard's goal is yet. Like it's Pirate King, but like outside of that, we'll see. We'll see. He does evil things, but is he morally corrupt? We don't know. But yeah, I mean, obviously he's a bad guy. In the same way that like a Kainu can be a bad guy, but it's not as clear cut as like in the final war, which is what kind of what's always like irked me, is that in the final war when it's like everyone versus like the real final villains, which we think is like Emu and like the Celestial Dragons. I don't know if I could envision a world where a Kainu is just like fighting for the Celestial Dragons. It's like if Emu came to the front of the stage and like a Kainu knew about Emu and like him controlling the world, would a Kainu bow and say, "Okay, we just gotta do it. Fuck it. Let's protect shit." Or like what would a Kainu do? Oda dropped the ball way more than Kishi. In terms of how many times he dropped the ball, Trent, I agree. I have not checked out Dragon Prince yet, Virgil. What do I think is Luffy's true dream, and do I think it will be satisfying? What I think his true dream is? It's probably something like ridiculous. Like it's simple. I haven't looked into any of the theories about it because honestly, I don't care. But I don't think it's anything grandiose in terms of like like Luffy thinks it's like a grand dream. It's like a simple thing that's like, oh, it's impossible, and then it happens. Do I think it's going to be satisfying? Probably not. Well, not for me because I'm out on Luffy's character, so I don't care about his dream. It's not going to be satisfying. Like I know it's not going to be satisfying. Are any of the strats S tier characters? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Did Caribou just become interesting again? Did he become interesting, or did Otis be like, "Oh yeah, that's a thing"? Did Caribou do anything in this arc that was interesting, or was it kind of just like Oda milking the Caribou stuff? You know, like I don't know. I don't know if he became interesting again, or was just bringing the plot point to the forefront. To be honest, when it comes to Caribou, like I don't know how you guys feel about this, but when I just saw like a redo happen of Fishman Island, where like Caribou does even less stuff than he did in Fishman Island, and at the end of the arc, he's just some like mud pile in a corner, like, oh, did I just hear them talk about another ancient weapon? How lucky! Let me go, blah blah blah. The first time that happened, I'm like, whatever, you know, okay, whatever. The second time when it's redone, I'm like, yo, yeah, I kind of care less. I'm like, you did the same thing over again. Was this necessary? Did we need to do this? Couldn't you have just taken the first thing and run with it? But whatever. Just in your eyes, what could ruin Blackbeard's character right now? Uh, the thing is, we don't really know a whole lot about him. I would say, like, if Blackbeard, if we have a hold on, wait, this will be like that's a My Hero spoiler. I was gonna say, if we have like a Shigaraki scenario going on right now, then I think that will basically ruin Whitebeard's character or Blackbeard's character. Do I have any hope for Mihawk? No. Just given how Akainu is absolute justice and Rob Lucci is dark justice, why do you think they don't get along? Because wouldn't their ways of justice be similar, beside Rob's being more vicious? I think there's a so they can both lead to evil stuff, but the means of getting there is different, which is why I think there's kind of like a like if you were just looking at the justices and not the characters, like there are character reasons why like Akainu doesn't really like Rob Lucci that you can point out, but in terms of like ideological ones, the way that you get to your result is like where it is, where it's it kind of is like if you're not on my side, then you're against me. So like Rob is only doing things strictly for the sense of doing things evil, but Akainu thinks he's actually doing something good. Like in Akainu's mind, this is all for the betterment of the world. Where Lucci doesn't give a fuck. Like this is all just a vehicle for him to like hurt people. So he doesn't care. So there's the difference. Dritz, are there any Straw Hats that you still like? No. I do not like any of the Straw Hats. Do you think the anime adaptation of the last Bleach arc will be able to fix its problems considering Cuba City's adding stuff? Yes, I do. I mean, there are certain things that aren't going to change, like a certain retcon, you know what I'm saying? But will it be better? I think undoubtedly it will be. I think this is sort of like he's trying to change his legacy right now. It's very possible. This man has lost all hope. You already know, baby. I am the hopeless. You guys know the Crestfallen Warrior in Dark Souls? That's me. Virgil, as far as like the multiple people theory, it's possible. I can't say one way or the other. We'll see. I don't hate the explanation. Do I think the Emerald City will be relevant? Um, Probably not. Maybe I'm not gonna throw it against Oda to like have that down on his list of like things to tie together if that wasn't supposed to be Greenbit, but you know. Don't you like Jinbei? Not really. So here's the thing. I've never been a big Jinbei fan. He was never a character I really got into. I know I don't dislike Jinbei. Like, I don't hate him or I don't feel as spurned by him because I barely got any time with Jinbei. He just, he's kind of like a side character, and now he's a Straw Hat. I'm like, okay, whatever. There's a bunch of things that have been done wrong with Jinbei so far, but I was never emotionally invested in Jinbei. So it's kind of hard for me to feel spurned by what's happened or like hasn't happened with Jinbei, which is why I said I don't like any of the shots. Like, because I don't really like Jinbei. He's like, whatever. He's just kind of there. Thoughts on Yamato joining the crew? It's never over until it's over, man. We got one more chapter to make it official. All right, hold on. Let me hold on to the copium. Well, JK, we do not know what Blackbeard's goal is. Okay, if he is a Rock's prototype, then his goal might be to destroy the world in a sense. So let's hold on to that for a second. The only difference between Blackbeard and Dofi at this point in time is uh, Dofi's got more character depth. Hey, if your name's Mr. One, Crocodile's gonna treat you right, okay? Jits, have you checked out Tekken's videos to get a more clear understanding about the Straw Hat's dreams and how the world building and lore work in One Piece? I just needed to watch Tekken's videos, dude. Maybe I should go do that right now. Dritz, can Yamato become worse than Sanji for you? Probably not. But if you, when and if Yamato joins, automatically second worst Straw Hat, and probably second worst character. One of the well, probably gonna be my second most hated character in the story. Not worst, but second most hated. Crocodile isn't racist like Zoro. That's right. Crocodile's right hand man. All right. They sticking together. He came and rescued him from Impel down. He's like, "Hey, Mister One, you want to land, motherfucker, motherfucker, you know what I'm saying, motherfucker." You hate Yamata more than Big Mom. Fundamentally, as for what they stand for, yes, yes, I do. Jits, I'm going to pull out my teeth if Yamato continues to talk about how she wants to be Oda like for the rest of the story. It's gonna be fuck. Jesus Christ. It's gonna be so bad, bro. Jits, why didn't you put Kazuki Oda on the same tier as Whitebeard in terms of character? Because Odin sucks. And Whitebeard was good until Odin came into his life. I still love Whitebeard though. Ivan, back from the card shop. $5. I was coping for a while, but after Wano, I have lost most hope for One Piece post time skip has been garbage. Yo, look at the refuge we have for just the downtrodden. Just what are the pros and cons of Dofi as a villain and character? Pros, he's strong. He's got a good character design. He's got good screen presence. He's got character depth. Cons, he's in a bad, well, not a bad arc. He's in the at best meh arc. No satisfying conclusion. No satisfying fights to deliver him off. Character relationships not completed. But basically, Tofi is a good but flawed villain, as I put it. There's lots on paper that make him likable and cool, but he's utilized in the arc not nearly as well as other villains, which is his main weakness. It's like I said, Dofi is LeBron on the Cavs. What are my opinions on Buggy? I never really cared about Buggy. Like I didn't dislike him. I thought he was all right. Didn't really have many opinions on him, to be fair. I liked his thing with Shanks. Like I said, I don't like this gag that's going on that comes at the expense of Mihawk. So that's like the only negative I really have to say about Buggy. I mean, I'm not as adamant about loving him as the community is for the sake of like a meme. So Do I have any hopes for Akainu and the Marines to be good antagonists? As of right now, no. I think Oda has a lot of work to do to try and salvage the Marines. Like that, oh, the Marines are so down bad. Yo, what's up? Am Hobby. Am Hobby. Am Hobby. That almost sounds like a bar. I don't know. Is Buggy just King from One Punch Man done bad? I wouldn't say Buggy's done bad. Is he like King from One Punch Man? Yeah, he's similar. Except Buggy's better than King. Just, is there any one thing you can think of that could bring back the hope back for you in One Piece? Listen, there is only one thing, and this is a major thing. It's not like it's like a little thing either. There is only one thing that could bring back hope for One Piece, and that is the main characters being written well. And that's just not possible. Because so much time's passed. Oda has to make me care about the main characters again. I don't care about them. In fact, I dislike them. Adamantly. So I need to care about the main characters again. I need to feel invested again. I need to feel rewarded for all of the care that I put into them. And with how much he's messed up, I don't know if that's possible. But if he did do that, it would make me interested in the story again. What's going on in the cover story? The Germa are about to pull one over on Katakuri and Oven because Caesar's going to come save them. That's Cap, Dritz. It's not Cap. Dude, listen. I used to like King, so we're talking about One Punch Man here. I think that King is a good example of when keeping it real, goes wrong, right? There are only so many times that you can have the King's engine joke and taking all of the credit away from Saitama before I start to actively get pissed off at this character for existing. There is only so much that can happen when King doesn't get an actual feat where he does something where it's not just a meme where he actually becomes a hero. And it's I am so sick and tired of King just coming in and people going, oh my god, it's the King's engine. King must have been the one that did this. And it's the 500th time it's happened. I'm like, dude, stop. Give me a break. I'm fighting for my life here. Oh, well, I was close, AM. I was gonna call you, besides Puck, what other characters in Berserk were ruined or wasted potential? Wasted potential? Mozgus, for sure, in my opinion. I think Mozgus was not a good villain. I don't think he's a bad one, but he's, I would say, underwhelming to a certain degree in terms of what he could have been. I think there's more potential there. Isidro, obviously, probably right next to Puck in terms of wasted potential. Casca is another one. Hmm. We'll see what happens with Elfheim, and then I'll have more people to add to the list. Which group is worse, the Scabbards or Germa? Oh, the Scabbards or Germa? I would say, like, so from a. Oh, Jesus Christ, they're so different in so many ways, but they have, like, the same issues. I would say that the Scabbards are worse by virtue of how much Oda tried and just failed at making them a thing. Whereas Germa are severely underwritten compared to the Scabbards. The Scabbards are so ass. But Oda spent so much time running around in circles and doing nothing with all of the Scabbards. I would say that the Scabbards have to be worse. Although I would argue that Germa is fundamentally more flawed than all of the Scabbards in terms of writing. But it's just the way the Scabbards are utilized that makes them worse. Why do so many mangakas rely on gags so much? Japan, for one, but this is just sort of just how writing goes, guys. Um, for no matter how dark a story is, there needs to be a balance. Like there are very few stories that are like, even like the most hardcore depressing seinen is gonna have a levity at some point in time, the good, so they can contrast against the bad. And in lighter hearted stories, comedy is always going to be a way that's used to pull the audience closer into the story and make it more readable. So gags and comedy are a vital part of a lot of stories. And it just so happens that, a lot of them kind of fail. Some of them work, some of them don't. You mentioned a tweet earlier about the national anthem. What was the context of that? It was me making a meme of Uta singing Bink Sake. Dritz, what are your thoughts on Kid forgetting about Kaido when he's on the rooftop? When he gets to the rooftop? What a peak character, man. Kid is just so cool. Do I think that Dofi's chaotic persona in Marineford contradicts his puppet master person in Dressrosa, or do you see him as just being a hypocrite? I don't see how these ideas are connected. Being chaotic, thriving in chaos, versus being a puppet master in Dressrosa. What makes this hypocritical? Marlon asks, Dritz, are you excited for One Piece film Red? What do you think of Oda making Uta a canon character confirmed in the manga like Shiki? Well, I don't know if it's been confirmed, right? I think it's like implied a bit. Am I excited for film Red? No, not anymore. I was whenever it first got announced, but I know what the plot of the story is now, and no, I'm out. Oda can keep that. I'm cool. Um, I'm not like I keep saying this, and I'll say this every time it's brought up, but I have very, very, very low standards for One Piece movies, so I'm not as harsh on them as I am like the actual story. I don't expect quality from any One Piece movie. It's just a matter of whether or not I'm interested. Um, Now, what I think about Utsa potentially being a canon character confirmed like Shiki, whatever. I don't got a problem with it. Do I know Blood on the Tracks? Now, is that like a Tupac song? Mr. Talk About It says, I think the issue becomes with people defending the comedy as a way of bad writing, especially with One Piece. People use its comedy as an argument like that means anything. Yeah, that's like the same thing as someone said earlier when they talked about how people like to defend One Punch Man lackluster writing by saying it's a gag manga, as if that makes everything okay, right? Yeah, this is what we call a poor man's excuse, right? To justify their love in the story by just deflecting criticism without actually tackling the criticism. Uh, like the One Piece is just a silly pirate manga stuff will never hold actual weight in a real conversation against someone with a brain. That's just something that the casuals use and get underneath so they can lift it up as like their shield. Dritz, how do you reply to individuals who claim we have to be patient about incomplete plot points and wait for later arcs? It depends on the points. Some of these have legitimate, like waiting to see the payoff for specific things is a legitimate counterpoint depending upon what it is. If it's like used in the greater context of like, oh, there's something clearly set up for like the major payoff to be here, but the Oda pushes it later down the line, you can make the argument that doing that for basically everything is a bad writing style because it heavily affects the arcs that could have benefited greatly from the closure of that plot line within the arc. Right, some things you don't need to wait to see. Right, if there's enough evidence to already declare that what happened here is bad, you don't need to wait necessarily for the payoff every time. What's wrong with Puck? I like his humor for the most part. It was needed in Lost Children. I will never criticize Puck. Lost Children and Puck is probably one of the best Puck's been in the story. The issue with Puck is everything post Lost Children. Just after getting more confirmation about Oda having to cut certain plot points, just confirms that Oda can't compromise his desire to end the series and his creativity. I said it for a reason, man. Whitebeard's my favorite character, says self-improvement. A Mr. Apaya04 says, Dritz, is there something you see positive in One Piece anymore? Here's the thing. There are little things that are positive. Although it's never hasn't been overwhelmingly positive for a long time. It's like I could pick out it. What's the right analogy to use for that? I was trying to use like the tree and the forest analogy, but I don't think that really works. Wasn't what I was going for, but I think you kind of get what I mean. It's like, yeah, there are individual things that could be positive. Not for a while, actually. Wano's been just that bad that there's outside of like isolating moments and saying that moment's good. There's been very few things that have been good about Wano. So part of it's a coincidence. Part of it is just the way that One Piece has been for a while, and part of it's personal preference. Dritz, do most One Piece YouTubers actually like Wano? Depends on who. I would say like out of the most One Piece YouTubers, yes, most One Piece YouTubers like Wano. Do most One Piece YouTubers love Wano? It might be half and half. Because a lot of like the newer guys, the people that kind of showed up in Wano are kind of like, starry-eyed for it. So they end up loving Wano. And people that are just more generally positive. But if you put their back against the wall, a lot of them probably say that they liked it, it was good, but they probably won't say they love it. Does it upset you how easily the One Piece community accepted the Gomu Gomu stuff? Um, there does it upset me? No. Like there's already been so many things that have happened in the story, in the community. There have been, like, I'm not as upset about the Gomu Gomu stuff in the community walking over because, like I was never able to hold the fire to their feet and have them say at a certain point in time, if X happened, it would be bad. Heading into Wano and then early in Wano, there were numerous things that people said, if this happens, it will be bad. And then when it happened, they said it was good. I'm more upset about stuff like that than, like, you know, these large scale ideas that people are like, yeah, I'm just kind of ignore it and push it down the line, because that's what One Piece fans do all the time. Oh shit, god damn it. Where'd my fucking chat go? Whoopsies. Jared, someone tried to ask this, but, oh, sorry, dude. What are your top 5 shots that fell off in terms of character motivation and plot? Oh, Jesus Christ, top 5. Fuck. Oh, shit. Come on, guys, you got it. That fell off in terms of... So this includes dreams and plot. Surely Nami is, like, up there. So let me think of the worst of the worst. So we got Nami, Zoro, Chopper, Luffy. I'm just naming 5 right now, and then I'll rank them. Nami, Zoro, Chopper, Luffy, Sanji, for sure. Rank. Who is the worst among these guys? Nami, Zoro, Chopper, Luffy, Sanji. Nami had a bad 10 years. Not just a bad fight. Nami's been getting shit on this entire time skip. I'm not going to rank them. I'll just say, for now, Nami, Zoro, Chopper, Luffy, and Sanji. Those are my my 5 that have fell off. Dritz, what do you think of Enel and his character arc? Do you like the Skypiea arc? Enel's character arc. This is the first time I've ever heard someone try to say that Enel had a character arc. He does not. I like Enel though. He doesn't need a character arc to be good. Do I like Skypiea? Yeah, I like Skypiea. I'm not as up on it as like a lot of the One Piece fandom is. You know, a lot of the One Piece fans like Skypiea's top 2, top 1 arc. Oh my god, Skypiea is so good. And Skypiea's alright. It's alright. I don't think it's great. I like it though. It's got a lot of moments that I appreciate and like more as time goes on. Thoughts about the war government being after the Goma Goma for 800 years? Incompetence and fraudulence at an all-time high for the Gorosei. Jason, wait for my next video. Just your thoughts on Kaido and Big Mom's crews not having awakenings besides Cat when Impel-Down jailers do? Nobody talks about that. That's not true. People talk about the lack of awakenings. That was a major talking point from people thought Kaido was going to get up and this, that, and the other. But as far as my thoughts, that's... I don't know what I was doing, man. I don't know. No. See, Neglected, I used to believe in the same thing you did. But I came to the conclusion, because obviously we don't see eye to eye on this, but I think Nami has been absolutely dog shit in the post time skip. And I consider it a blessing in disguise as a sorts that Robin's not even in the story most of the time, because as it turns out, the more you're in the story, the worse you're going to be. And Nami has virtually nothing good in the entirety of the time skip. Thoughts on Sanji and Zoro finally having the sex? I've been waiting for it, baby. The manga I'm reading is niche. Nobody's really talking about them. Oh shit! Is this a hipster take? New Dawn Horizon? The Lamy season? Unfortunately. Unfortunately. Yo, what's up, Utopia? Who is worse? Sabo or Ace? For me, Sabo. See, I completely disagree. I think you'll be interested in the next video I drop, Neglected. I think that Nami is there's no worse arc for Nami than Whole Cake Island. I think it's an absolutely awful arc for Nami. In fact, I don't think Nami's had a single good arc in the post time skip. The best moment for Nami in the entirety of the time skip is when she forgave Jinbei, and Sanji tried to ruin that. But thankfully, Nami's good enough for that scene to still be good, despite Sanji being a bitch. When is part 3 dropping? Monday or Tuesday, Vanilla. How long will the next video be? About 4 hours. Please let it be Monday. We'll see. We shall see. All right, boys. Another 9 minutes, and I will wrap this up, and then we'll have been 3 hours and 30 minutes. We're just getting out of Wano, Atopia. About 1 or 2 more chapters, maybe more. It seems I'm reading the wrong series. Says Neglected. It's all about perspective on what the events, on what really happened, rather than what I would consider subterfuge. Dritz, do you see anything from Garp moving forward? Maybe. Garp's got potential. What form it takes the shape of is up in the air, but I think he's got potential. Jits, why do you think there's such a quality drop in the New World? Well, a big moment in the story, it doesn't seem like there should have been a reason for Oda's quality to shift. Well, I go through a bunch of reasons in part 1. But I think a big reason is the fact that, unlike at any other point in time in the story, Oda, for the first time ever, once he started brainstorming the structure of the post-time skip, had to come to the realization that he needed to try and end his story. And one of the hardest things to do, even though it's taken us literally forever to get there, but one of the hardest things to do is to, like, so it's often the case, and Oda's actually a good example of this, but a lot of other authors are too. But whenever you come up with a story, whenever you make something up in your mind, right, there are certain things, there are certain scenes that you want to draw. Like, you don't have the structure of the story all laid out already. You have a basic idea, and generally speaking, you probably don't know, like, the actual ending. You know kind of, like, things you would like to end off on, and that's what Oda's like. Like, Oda's always known what he wanted the last panel or page of the story to be, not like the last everything. That's changed undoubtedly throughout the years, because One Piece was supposed to be 5 years, and obviously all of these ideas didn't exist during that point in time, so Oda's expanded on things a lot through the 25 years that the series has been going on. But especially for a mangaka whose time is already limited, you can't come up with an entire script from beginning to end of how you want your story to be drafted. And that oftentimes leads to very bad story endings. And this is the same thing for, like, any series, because it's the same for most series. Most series don't have, like, a well thought out structure on where they want the story to end and how they want it to end. Dritz, last minute thoughts on Tama having and using a slavery fruit despite Wano being about freeing slaves? Is it about freeing slaves, specifically slaves? I mean, it's whatever. The weirder thing about Tama is kind of like the whole speed mother shit. That was weird. Do I think that Gevins deserves less? I think he's got a little too much dip on his chip. How many points did I average in high school? 1.4. Do I think that the Kaido fight is as bad, if not worse, than the cat fight? Yeah, I think it's worse. Yeah, I'm getting off in 3 minutes, Christian. Shout out to the Firelink Shrine, man. I've been playing this entire stream. What a goated OST. Dritz, do you think Nami regrets because of fan service? I mean, it's more than one thing. It's the fan service has become bad, but Nami's character is just bad too. So there's that. The fan service like would still be annoying even if Nami was like good, but it's the combination of both that make it as bad as it is. No, there are the thing with that neglected is that it's not. It feels like you're ignoring the levels of fan service because fan service will always exist in some way, shape, or form, but there are levels to how fan service is implemented in the story, right? So there's like good fan service and there's bad fan service. They're not all the same, right? So an example of really bad fan service, I mean the post time skip, it would be a lot of it, but specifically Nami, like for instance when Nami gets sexually assaulted by Sanji for like I don't know 12 chapters in Punk Hazard, bad example of fan service because it's literally bad for both characters. Doesn't matter if it's a gag or not. You know, it's not good for Nami. It's not good for Sanji either. That was a really bad example of fan service. I will upload the stream, Felix. I'll probably upload it tomorrow. Or maybe tonight if I can do it before work. I don't think Rob Montatata's is worse. Rob Montatata's is bad, but is not as insulting and degrading to her character as it was with Nami and Sanji, especially because it's those two characters. And there are just like there are examples of like what I would consider good fan service, in the post time skip, but it's kind of always overshadowed for by bad fan service. So you have good fan service, which would be the shower scene in Whole Cake Island with Nami, Chiffon, and Carrot. That's like a natural thing. I consider that to be good fan service. It's not like putting the characters in a precarious situation just to perpetuate fan service in a bad way, right? So the shower scene in Whole Cake Island is a lot different than what I would consider a very bad fan service scene, which is Wano and the bathhouse. That's an egregious fan service scene, in my opinion. I feel like that is everything you don't want to do in a story, right there. Um, I hate it. There's also the benefit. It's like, for the first, let's see, one, two, three, four. For the first four arcs of the post time skip, Oda parades Nami around in basically a bra, and then he actually gives her outfits for like, Zoe, Whole Cake Island, and then Wano, which is like, okay, finally she has something other than a bra. It shows you a bit of the intentions, because like Oda's first thing with his mind going into the time skip was, how can I sexualize Nami as much as possible? Boom, just put her in basically in a bikini. Christian, this is like a short-sighted opinion from you, I think. Like, I don't know how it's bad for Nami kind of blaming the victim. Yes, the victim gets blamed whenever they suffer as a result of being tortured by the author. This is a very, I mean, that should go without saying. Like, if something bad happens consistently, that it goes against the character. Hopes for the new Berserk chapter. I hope that it will be good. I need these guys to recover from the fumble from last week, from the last chapter. Christian, comparison for you, because this affects this character as well. Reason why fan service can be held against the character for being bad for that character is because of the writing. Casca, you have specific issues with Casca and specific types of like fan servicey situations, and parts of those things are fan service, and it wasn't good then, and it's not good in like any story to perpetuate that sort of shit, right? So you can't have it both ways. All right, I'll go for a couple more minutes, then I'll end it. Yeah, I agree. Young Robin's outfit in Eni's lobby was a good example of fan service. Well, self this is. Hold on, wait, hold on. Let's not act like self-proven that like my feelings on Sanji aren't specifically clear and stated in numerous scenes. What is Nami's best outfit to you? Um, hmm. Nami's best outfit. For me, it might be the OG. Let me see. So my favorite Nami outfits are going to be the OG fit, Arlong Park, or the one where she has the Moody shirt, tank top on, probably. Those are my favorite. Am I planning on reading Witch Hat Atelier? Not on my radar. Not on my radar. Robin's best outfit is Thriller Bark. I know a lot of people say that, but that's not my favorite. I actually, if I were like to compare the outfits, I like Robin's Eni's lobby outfit as my favorite. And then low key as like an appreciation, I'm a pretty big fan of Robin's Skype outfit actually. Her like adventuring, you know, outfit like that. I like when Robin used to wear a cowboy hat. I miss those. Give me that cowboy hat back. Eni's lobby is your favorite outfit for Nami and Robin? Ooh, yeah, I don't like Nami's Eni's lobby outfit actually. It's not clicking with me. It's not like bad, but I'm not a big fan of it. I preferred her Water 7 outfit with the tie and the dress shirt. Just what are your favorite fights for each straw hat? Oh, Jesus. Hold on, I mean, some of these are going to be really short because some only had one fight. So Nami, Miss Doublefinger. That's no debate. Luffy. Probably Lucci for me. Either that or Usopp. It's one of those two. But I'll use Usopp as his best fight as Luffy. Because for me, that was kind of like more about Usopp. So I'll give Usopp that one. So I can sneak them both in there and cheat. Zoro. Um, Zoro. Yikes. That's going to have to be Mihawk. Robin. Yami from Skypiea. The only options was Yami, Skypiea, or Black Maria, and I don't like the Black Maria fight, so... Frankie. Jesus, Frankie? What the hell is... What's that Chapapa guy? I don't even know his name. Chapapa. Chopper. How many fights does Chopper have? So he's got tag team fight with Usopp and Alabasta. Gadatsu. Yoi Yoi guy from Enies Lobby. I can't remember. Does he actually even fight anyone in Thriller Bark, or is he just a part of the Winry stuff with Hogback? Does he actually fight? And then Chopper hasn't had a fight since. So I guess it's Gadatsu or Yoi Yoi. I do like Monster Point during that portion though. I'd have to go back. I haven't seen the Gadatsu fight in a long time. I actually don't remember a whole lot about it other than Gadatsu like fucking around and like actually not fighting because he's an idiot. And then he does fight for a little bit, and then Chopper like, you know, punches him or hooves him through the clouds. I'm gonna say Yoi Yoi. Who the fuck's left? So Nami, Luffy. Oh, Sanji. Jesus Christ. That's most of his fights suck, so we're gonna have to go with his best one, probably Jabra. It's either Jabra or that dude from Arlong's crew. Who am I missing? Nami, Luffy, Usopp, Zoro. Oh, Brook. Wait. Other than Wano. What the hell does Brook do? He doesn't fight anyone. Well, he fights and loses against. Can I count that? Can I count Brook losing against Ryuma as a fight? If I can count that, then I'll count that. I'm going to count Brook losing to Ryuma as his best fight. So let's go over and see if I change my mind. So we got Nami, Miss Doublefinger. That's still clear for me. Easily the best fight. Also the most emotional. Um, Luffy, Lucci. That's probably still my top one. Usopp, Luffy. And it's kind of cheating, but I'll count it anyway. Zoro, Mihawk. Yeah, that's easy for me. The next one would be Mr. One after Mihawk. Robin, Yami. Frankie, Chapapa. Chopper, Yoi Yoi. Sanji is Jabra. I guess I'm gonna be Bon Clay. Do I like Bon Clay more than Jabra? The fight? Jabra, Bon Clay. I'm gonna go Bon Clay. I like the hands more. So I'll change Sanji to Bon Clay. And then Brook losing to Ryuma. Yeah, okay, that seems pretty good. All right, there we go, people. We officially ranked it. Ranked the fights for the Straw Hats. And with that, my time here is finished. I'll upload this stream onto the second channel, but thanks, everyone, for coming out. And hopefully you enjoy part 3 when it comes out on Monday or Tuesday.